Okay. I'm live. Okay, where is the link? No one's watching. And la 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 la. Anyone's actually popping in? I'm just sort of messing around here, testing things. I can't find my own channel. How do I find my channel? Crap. Is anyone... I have no metrics. Is that one? If you've managed to see this, you're like a subscriber, this just popped up for you, pop in the chat, because as far as I know right now, I'm just farting around figuring out the layout, and I don't know that I'm actually talking to anybody. So, yeah, I guess, yeah, hold on. Okay, so that's there, just farting around, no viewers, no things, no nothing. I'm just gonna check some stuff out. Just going around and babbling into a microphone. And we'll get more, it's like, should I have done this through, well, Zoom would be more interactive, but I don't know what kind of goofiness would result, so I don't know. What's that? And then... Oh, that's weird. Okay, it says 2 people. That might include me. Yeah, once again, I'm just getting used to this. I don't know that anybody's watching, so this is going to be real boring until I realize I have an audience, and then it still may be boring, but there'll be an attempt for actual stuff. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah. What a bizarre thing to blah blah. You see the stock, and then you see some of the book boxes, and you see the mess on the table, and blah 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 blah. Just get used to this. Got to do this more, and okay. Once again, I don't know that I have any audience, so I'm just blabbling on. Blabbling. That's great. Until people pop in the chat, let me know they're watching, get something going on. I got no plans for this. I'm just goofing around, seeing what these buttons do. So when I would want to do something more formidable and scheduled, I'll know how to do it without all this waffling. So, yeah, of course, I have to say that continuously on a loop because, yeah, just check the chat for what I'm doing here. It's not much. Oh, God, is that 6 people watching? Do I actually have to start acting like I have something to say? My goodness. So I'll just recap what I've been saying live on a loop. I'm just farting around with the interface. So when it's time to do something more serious, I'll know what I'm doing. But while you are here now, I don't know. I can show you some stuff. But I've aha, happy to. Okay. So we've got someone in the chat. Oh my God, somebody's looking at me. Jesus. Okay. So if you're going to look at me, I guess I'm going to have to show you something. Oh God, is this a new book? Oh, okay. So there's what, 5 people, 6 people that might give a shit. Now they know the title of a new book and they're going to go, ooh, or more likely, don't give a shit. Yeah. Okay, we got one person that cares. So thank you, Maxwell. This was so not at all thought out. Wait. 3 people in the chat. Oh God, now there is an audience. Now I'm gonna feel like I'm gonna have to perform, and things will get really pathetic. But yeah, so just let all the people know that this is a thing. It's a decent sized book, and it's there. What else we got going on? This one people already know about. I think we see it's nice and shiny, and this copy actually has where is it? Frayed in. So if I pull this, will the entire cover get unraveled? And it's got like one of these little sleeves on the back, and then attractive insides. So hopefully that's been worth your 2 seconds popping in. And what else is happening? If anyone's got questions, they can pop in the chat and give me actually something, to actually talk about instead of babbling to an audience of, 4 or 5 people. That could be helpful. When are these available? Okay, good question. I've got 4 of the new books here. There is a 5th one that will not be delivered until late this week, but probably early next week. So I can't do anything until that one's been delivered and make sure it's okay and everything. So it's possible by this time next week. Possible, but that's not entirely up to me. So yeah. Yes. The big ridiculous thick one is Adventure Anthology Blood. Now, the tricky part with this one, though, because it's an anthology of several different adventures and they all had maps and everything, that, we couldn't get the maps all in the book. That does come with poster maps, because when I did the preview of showing how thick the book was, you might have noticed it was shrink wrapped. So what we're going to do, so basically this book's going to come shrink wrapped and everything's going to be all packaged together, individually shrink wrapped. And then, yeah. Okay, best way to get our hands on these. It's going to be the LOTFP web store when it goes on sale. I'll be having a special deal to help with shipping and stuff. The stuff, I think next week they're going to be going to the copies going to the U.S. warehouse. Will be on the boat. They're expected there mid-July. And so if you're wanting to order from the US web store, that won't be able to happen till then. Well, I might put up pre-orders and stuff once I know that the boat's out the door and everything. But let's see. I heard the rumor you're not eager to put out LOTFP in other languages. Is that true? Well, it's sort of true. The deal is that to me, well, the issue is just all the balancing of rights, and because all the the authors of their own books retain the rights to their books, and then dealing with that and dealing with the other thing, and then it's complicated. And then, for example, Germany, I think, is my third biggest market. So we have the problem that whoever is doing the German translation, since I'm not going to handle that, since I wouldn't be able to do quality control myself on foreign translations, so another publisher would have to license it out to do, local translation work. And especially in German, I sell so much into Germany that whoever licenses it is going to have to make sure that I get enough money to cover not selling my stuff directly into Germany anymore. And then they'd have to make back their expenses and also get enough profit for them. So that creates an economic issue for doing German translations, I think. Yeah, that gets complicated. And I've been dealing with so much other stuff that really getting into the nuts and bolts and starting negotiations for other languages. People have been asking, Italian and German and Portuguese, I think, have been the big ones that people have asked about doing licenses, and just it's so complicated. It feels big, and it feels, I don't know. Feel swamped and overwhelmed a lot of the times with the stuff I already have to deal with, that I don't know. It's I'm really bad at getting back to people that inquire about it, and I really should, but it just feels like taking on more complications is just the gut feeling I have, rather than it feeling completely advantageous to pursue, which is probably wrong. Several different people and companies have approached me, so that's not going to be the case that it's just complication with all of them. It's just, I don't know. I already feel like I'm not addressing or dealing with a lot of the things I need to as it is. So adding another thing, just, yeah, you get the idea. I'm just going on. Yeah, okay, we're into double digits as far as an audience. If you want me to answer any questions, just pop a question into the chat here. Again, this live stream is mainly just me getting comfortable and figuring out the interface. So when I do have a scheduled thing that I want to do, I'll be able to just get down to it without having to figure stuff out. Because the last time I did a live stream, 1.5 years ago, it's like I just announced live stream, and then it got to the time, then it was like, oh, how does this work? When do you typically release the PDFs for new books? Typically, it's the same day as the print release, as the print release goes on sale in the LOTFB web store. Or, just within a couple days. It's not going to be a big delay, because once I'm selling stuff in the LOTFP web store, you get the PDF with that, and the reality being the way that is, someone's uploading it somewhere anyway. So it's not like I can control the PDF, so it's really an advantage just to get that out as soon as possible to coincide with the print release. Love to have an adventure set in Italy or an Italian setting book. Oh, okay. Are you volunteering to write it? I mean, if you got a pitch, send me the pitch. Don't. That's the one great thing about gaming and Lamentations in particular. The entire Lamentations game in the first place came from the fact that nobody was serving my needs. The stuff that I wanted wasn't out there, so it's like, okay, first I started doing it, and then there were people that had a common vision for certain projects, so I can bring them on board. And this is stuff that other people weren't doing, so we did it ourselves. So if you want an Italian set adventure or an Italian setting book, that's send me your pitch and let's get it done. Which adventures are included in Adventure Anthology Blood? I'm assuming you're talking about the new one here. That is going to be The Grinding Gear, Weird New World, Hammers of the God, No Dignity in Death, The Three Brides, People of Pembrokeshire. So that's what's in there. And for the previous adventure anthologies, we used the same artwork and the same graphic design, just kind of combine them together. This is a completely new layout from scratch and all new artwork. So, yeah. Yay. Let's see. I've heard a few mentions of playtest rules. Are they available somewhere? Yes, they are available in Eldritch Cock. James Edward Radji IV's Eldritch Cock. That was our 2018 free RPG Day release. The PDF is available for free download or pay what you want from our Drive-Thru RPG page. How do you decide which adventures go into the anthologies? Well, Blood was easy. That was just what was left. Better Than Any Man wasn't going to go into an anthology because it's too much, and I want to do that as its own reprint someday. And yeah, as far as how I decided, well, Death was easy. You just take the nasty ones and just throw them together. Fire was like the rest of the newer ones, the ones with the modern LOTFP mindset, and Monolith and God That Crawls was sort of like where we started on the modern route, modern path of LOTFP, and so Blood was just taking like the really old ones and getting those back in print. So let's see. So we're yeah. Hello to everyone in the chat. Can you talk a bit more about the new releases? Well, let's see. Oh yeah. Then there's this bad boy, and you do. Oh yeah, that's revealing the title. Ooh. Deck of Weird Things. It's that's one that I wrote. It's well, the classic magic item, the Deck of Many Things. This is a weirder version of that. It's I thought about doing it as an actual card deck. The problem is, I was never going to be able to write things concisely enough to all fit on cards, basically. So it had to become a book, and then once it was a book, I had to flesh it out a little. So it'll use a full 54 card deck, including the jokers, and then and then every card that you draw, there's additional options, for the 4 suits. So whatever card you pick, there's also an additional hearts, clubs, spades, and diamonds option. So 54 times 4, so that's 216 different options. Am I in an IKEA showroom? No, but that is certainly where I bought all my furniture. Absolutely, that's well spotted from the From what I thought was a cool retro 70s sci-fi looking lamp, which was looked much better in the store than it does in my room. But yeah, all these shelves, yeah, very, very IKEA. Let's see. Loving the eyeball. Oh yeah, yeah, that's yeah, the eyeballs. You'll notice the what was it? 2000 Jesus, what was it? Was it 2019? The Oh geez, I can't even remember. I get confused on years. I'm losing my marbles. But was it just last year that I did the Kids on Pikes cover for the Gen Con catalog? And people are complaining, oh, the kids and the blah, it's horrible. And, I had a magic user, plucked all their eyeballs out and had a goblet full of eyeballs. And that's the same goblet. So let's see. Conciseness. Need an editor for that. Oh dear. I see what all that would have done is end up making me manufacture cards instead of a book, and what a pain in the ass that would have been. Let's see, and then just checking in for other things. Okay. So what do we got here? The joke that keeps on giving. Yeah, that's bizarre. Uh, it's very weird that the things that I think are going to wind everybody up, nobody gives a shit about. And then it's things I never expected that people just get angry as hell. Because that Kids on Pikes art, to me, that was funny. It was a joke. Uh, and people actually got upset. And they're people that are like, this is pedophile art. Someone actually said that to me, and I was like, okay, explain that one, because I really don't. I can't even see that as a reach. And then I think and of course, me being the smartass that I am, the thing I wanted to say at the time that I didn't is like, Carcosa, were you talking about? I don't know. Isn't the lamp the Death Star lamp? Well, I don't know what. Well, it came from IKEA, so it's gonna have to have some Swedish name. So they don't call it the Death Star, do they? Let's see here. Talk about new releases more. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Big Puppet. This is Alucard Finch is the author. No, that's not his real name. He, with everything that's going on, he was maybe deciding he didn't want all the shit coming down on him. But it's not anybody that has not anybody that's written for me before, so that I can say that. Aaron Alfrey did all the art, and he just lots and lots and lots of art. So it's an Aaron Alfrey smorgasbord. I mean, we had to expand the page count because he was just doing all sorts of art where he takes stuff. Oh yeah, this half page thing here. How about we make this a spread? And it's like, no, okay, yeah, you want to do that? Okay. So let's see. How are you keeping? Healthy enough considering the viral apocalypse? Yeah, I've actually been improving the past couple of months more because the past year plus I had collapsed in a complete wreck. Mentally and physically. I mean, I had a groin injury, a back injury. What else? I had all sorts of shit. I was literally falling apart. And I've been getting back, eating a bit better, and not perfectly. Doing a lot more exercise. I do DDP yoga 5 times a week if I'm keeping my schedule, so the weight's coming back down slowly, and I highly recommend the DDP yoga. It's a great thing. Let's see. Not Matt. Okay. You'll have to give me more than that. But yeah. Any news on the planned Shakespearean scenario? You see, that's oh boy. Uh, that's one of those things that I don't know that I should comment. I'll just say I haven't heard from that author in quite some time. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, yeah, blah blah. Let's see, and then see. I don't know how the glare, but yeah, this is going to be a neat one. Nice cloth bound, two different kinds of foiling. Uh, all sorts of fun three color printing. So lots of good stuff. The author of this one, Gord Seller, he's been published out in the real book world, so that's good. Let's see, adventure anthology, Blood. That's all. That's all me. I can't say that's all me, but the thing in here that's not me is a little Easter egg, because what happens is my authors, when they do their stuff, when I review their work, when I review stuff before it goes into production, when I do the executive level editing and interference kind of thing, I'm looking for certain things. It's like, does it make sense? Does shit seem like it should? Does it work? But I'm not doing. But I'm not like looking at the details. Like, if it works, I'm not concentrating on one thing. So what happens? Lots of my authors just pass shit right by me that I don't notice, and I find out later. And for one of those things, I invited an author that's been doing that to do it on purpose inside this book. So yeah, and I must say, with all the printing and everything, let me show you a let me show you an art piece we had. Oh, new book smell. I'm gonna get high off of printer or ink fumes. So where are we? I'm looking at. Wait, hold on. I'm wanting to show you something again. This is all impromptu off the top of my head, so I'm not going to. Here we'll see this, a little bit of art there, and you'll notice with the formatting, we're not filling up all the pages. Some of the pages do have, they are filled up a lot more with text. This is one, but we're looking for like easy formatting and reference. So some of the pages, the text isn't going to be all that, filling everything up, but there's a nice little piece of card art. And then this slipcase, I got to tell you, expensive as hell. This is 5-color printing on a very hardcover thickness slipcase. We only had 110 of these done. 100 are going to be made available to the public. This is the kind of thing, great marketing. I paid out the ass for a small amount of fancy ass slip covers. So, and we pass the costs on to you. Let's see. Let's see here. I believe Ron Edwards is doing an Ottoman LOTFP setting. Any news on that? He's been playing it. That's the news on that. That hasn't been canceled as far as I've been made aware of. Did I hear right? There's a Swordfish Islands project underway. How's that going? I think you might mean this one. This one was laid out. The design and all the decisions on this was made by Jacob Hurst, and he's the guy that does the Swordfish Islands. So it's not a Swordfish Islands book. It was just worked on by the guy who does Swordfish Islands, and he made the design decisions. Let's see. I'm a bit sad there will be no Spiel in Essen this year. Okay, well, Not my fault. Uh, I'm noticing a lot of Kickstarters. LOTFP noticeably absent. Thoughts on Kickstarters? Kickstarters are a very bad idea for me because one thing I am horrible at is punctuality, which, the ref book is a very good reason to not do Kickstarters for me anyway. And that book's slowly but surely getting developed and finished. The problem is now we have a prelim layout for one section of the referee book, like a finished section. It is Appendix F. So just an appendix is completed, done, and we did, Alex did the layout. And so just for Appendix F, it was over 120 pages. And I know I've said this in the in the Facebook messages, but it's like shit. If this one section in the back ass end of the book is that many pages, I'm fucked. And this is the problem with taking so long and going so far over schedule and doing so much for the ref book that it's I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet, but it's not quite all yet put together. So yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll figure something out. Let's see. Hello, Jared. And then FX Shop TV. Yeah. Somebody was shocked with something. Is postage still a killer from Finland? Yes. I've got a few plans about that, but again, I want to, a few things I got to check. Split up and sell as DLC. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I think what's more realistic is the referee book may be released in a multi-volume set that will resemble the old Encyclopedia Britannica. That's Jesus. That's only half joking saying that. Perhaps PDF only appendices for the referee book. Fuck that shit. No. That's again, very non-smart business confession. I don't understand PDFs. I don't understand why anybody wants them. I don't understand why anyone uses them. I produce them only because people will give me money for them. There's like I'm a producer on this. I got pride in this. The PDF version of this. It's well made. It's bookmarked. It's a PDF, but a hard copy of it all. Yes. Let's see. The slipcase for the rules and magic and ref book and monster book will be interesting then. Yes, thank you, Heiki. That's very helpful. Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if the ref book is itself going to be multiple volumes, frankly, I just need to decide ahead of time how thick the monster book will be, and then the slipcase that houses all of the referee volumes will have space for the monster book and the rules and magic book, and just do it then. Let's see. What are your favorite OSR products that came out lately? Oh God. Okay. I have to say I have cut off. How do I put this? How do I put this diplomatically? And do I want to bother even saying this diplomatically? For well over a year, I think it may be going. Oh, shit, it's June already, so well over a year and a half. I haven't paid attention to anything in role playing. I don't know what's going on. It was just stress. So I just said, I mean, last year at Gen Con, when Jacob showed up with Silent Titans, I'd never heard of it. And now, it's being sold at my booth. And so it's like that. I don't know anything. I don't know who's still doing stuff. don't know what's come out. I know nothing. I'm not paying attention to the role playing scene anymore, and it's I I get enough shit coming down in my head without going looking for it, and that's yeah. A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep. That, well, yeah, okay. That's, um, let's see. Uh, more questions. Oh my God, there are 17 people here. Does that include me when I tried looking in the other? I don't know. We've got almost 20 people in here. I'm this close to being internet famous. But yeah, if anyone's listening to this and not in the chat, if you want to ask questions, you just pop into the chat. I'm just farting around here. Had no big plans for the live stream. And yeah, and just for anyone wondering, my camera's up there. My screen is down there. So. Plus, of course, your new product will have the most epic video promos ever seen. Well, we shall see, won't we? Do we have a release date for the new books? I'm guessing sometime next week. There's still one more book that needs to be delivered. I was told it's drying yesterday. So are you pushing forward to 18th century history? No, I am not. I'm very comfortable with the early 17th century, and the entire reason for that is I consider that I'm publishing a horror game, and there is no worse time to be alive on planet Earth than the early 17th century. There are atrocities and bullshit and garbage and suffering in any other time, but there's always a place that either you can be away from it or there are good things happening. But the early 17th century, no matter who you are or where you are, it's just trash. So that's the perfect time to put LOTFP right in the middle of. And yeah. A theological golden age for Lutheranism, though. Well, yeah. Well, it's. I would say the worst is over, and the 30 Years' War wasn't strictly a religious war, but shit wasn't stable. Let's see. Joking aside, if you drag that bloody camera out we talked about the other day, I dragged it out long enough to get the model number. I had already sent that to you. Can we expect another spell book in the fashion of cock and vaginas? Well, thank you for that one. You see, I was thinking about doing like a combined reprint volume and just calling it, oh, geez, I forget. I had some tasteless thing that had to do with genitals. But no, the long-term plan, which considering how long it takes me to get anything done, it'll probably have to be a clone of my brainwaves that have put into some AI that'll eventually get this done. But the idea is to take the magic system from Vaginas Are Magic and Eldritch Cock and redo the entire spell list in that format. Are you running any online games? I just played in a game by Jeff Reentz this past week, and that was fun, and it turned out I'm that asshole player that has to push every button. I don't run online games. It's I don't know, frustrating. Sure, you could pull another spell book out of your arse. I could pull a lot of things out of my arse. Okay. Friggin' British people. See, I read it like it says. It's and apparently I'm not paying attention during the panel shows I watch. Is that pronounced arse? Or am I just supposed to say it ass and it's just spelled arse? Answer in the chat, please. That's the quality content you can expect from Lamentations of the Flame Princess live streams. Fucking hell. Please, somebody ask a better question. What else? For anybody, no, R's are pronounced. Why? What is the point of that? What arse? I swear, the first time I read arse, it was is like somebody trying to say heck instead of hell. What the hell is an arse? People who say arse are assholes. Anyway, I see we have 3 new people in here, so I'm going to once again flash everybody with purdy new things. Nice, expensive ass slipcase 5 color printing. That was designed by Yannick Bouchard. And then this one designed by Jacob Hirsch. And then it's got nice multicolor printing inside. And then a big puppet with lots of glorious Aaron Allfree artwork. Woo! And that's a glare because all the light's coming in from the front window here. And then here is Adventure Anthology Blood, which has all of the 2009 and 2010 LOTFP adventures, except for Stargazer, which is in fire, and Death Frost Doom, which is its own thing. And that's going to include 3 poster maps with this, and it's all going to be shrink wrapped. Let's see here. Any new T-shirts in the pipeline? Not in the pipeline, but in the boxes there, along with this stuff. I have 2 shirts. One of them is what the Dr. Slug, and then another one is the old box cover artwork has been made into a T-shirt. That's going to go on sale at the same time as all this stuff. The inverted E in the deck is bothering my OCD. I think that was Alex that put together the title logo on that one, so you'll have to argue with him. That one is seriously fucked up. I don't know which one. Let's see. Can you please take my money already? Anyone that's ever bought anything from the LOTFP store already knows the LOTFP PayPal address or the bank account. So I'll take all the money you got. Just send it. You know, if you want to get books for the money, though, you gotta wait a bit. Going to need another bookcase. You or me? Because look at this shit. Let's see here. Yeah. No, we've lost a viewer. Oh boy, somebody looked at the books and went, yeah. I should not do that on a live stream again. So I've been on here almost 45 minutes. Of all the ways to procrastinate and avoid doing the shit I need to be doing, this is one of them. Book's looking good. Thank you. I can't wait till the 5th one comes in. That's one that hold on. I can tell you the whole thing with the new book. Let's see. I run a small RPG data poll and color LTFP book. I'll catch up with you for a 20, 30-minute interview. Okay, yes. Email me and we can schedule that. Okay. Now here's what's going on with the final book and why it's taking longer than the rest. The inspiration was taken. It's a band called Mirror. They've got 2 albums out. This is their first album. And you see it's printed on a shiny mirrored surface. So I had the idea of doing a book that's all this surface. And there is, my printer, when I was looking through their paper samples a few years ago, they had sort of they had this card stock that was shiny like this on one side and then just plain, paper on the other. I thought, okay, let's do a book that's all this. And the problem is then when I turned in the materials, Jesus, it's been well over a month now, they found out they can't actually make an entire book out of that cardstock. So in order for this to happen, what they're doing is taking all of the sheets and foiling all of them with shiny silver foil. And they got to let those dry. That's what they're doing right now. Thousands, I guess, sheets of paper are drying. And then they're going to go through and print the book on them then. So I shouldn't have shown you this because this may be an ideal that we don't reach, since everyone seems to be treating this book based on this idea as an experiment, and now I've just ruined it by showing you what it's supposed to look like at the end. Hopefully it'll look presentable. I got no fucking idea, and apparently neither does anyone else. Let's see. You could also do silver gold foiling, which is a pretty good mirror. Yeah, it's well. I realized that, I mean, once we weren't using like just the pre-manufactured cardstock and it was foiling, they have got dozens, maybe exaggerating, but they have an entire range of colors for metallic foiling. So if this one works, we can do any fucking thing. That's great. Teased it, not ruined it. Well, we'll see. Way too easy. Why not make it 3D and use a dozen types of paper stock? You come to me with a project where it makes sense to do that, and then we'll do the bullshit. Because honestly, the paper was the first. I get these ideas. It's like, hey, I got this idea for a project. Can you do this? And so then we can produce it this way. And someone's like, well, okay. And someone actually got the project done this time. So yeah, if you want to see a 3D dozen types of paper stock. I remember when I was a kid, there'd be stuff that come with like bubblegum, like Marvel superheroes, like the hologram little thing. It's like, oh, there's Bruce Banner. You turn it a little bit, he turns into the Hulk. We can do all that shit. Just you bring me a project where that makes sense and you have that in mind, and we'll get it done. LOTFP pop-up book, those things are so goddamn expensive, and it's just, yeah, I was thinking about it, but it's at a certain point, the expense just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Or you come to me with a project that is so compelling that when you say this part needs to be a pop-up, I'll go, fuck, okay. So that's your job. That all the shit that all you people are suggesting I do, bring me a project that requires it. And a project that I'm just so fucking to get done that I'll do whatever stupid shit you want me to do. And that's how all this stuff gets done. You ever miss the good old Southern cooking from Georgia? Oh, Jesus. I grew up in southwest Connecticut. That's never been described that way. Basically, Greenwich, Connecticut, outside New York City. But I grew up in the projects of Greenwich, Connecticut. So I'm living on welfare in a city where, two Rolls Royces might get into a head-on collision and no one would think it unusual. Very not Southern. So when I moved to Atlanta, I liked Mrs. Winters. Your bucket of chicken comes with tea, a gallon of tea that they make in a big garbage can. No, really. So that's my Southern credentials. Fuck. Let's see. You should do the LOTFP coloring book. Yeah, I know. Do it. Coloring. Yes. LOTFP coloring book. Yes. Scratch and sniff book. You see, that's one of those things. You think it's a good idea. It sounds like it might be clever. you would immediately regret it. And then look at this. Like right now, my storage space is full, so I got like big piles of boxes here. There's another big pile in the hall. There's another big pile in the another hallway, and then in the bedroom there's a pile of 20 something boxes because I'm just overstuffed here. And I can just imagine getting a scratch and sniff book done where I decide that, hey, this is going to be LOTFP scratch and sniff. So it's like, oh, remember that Cannibal Corpse cover that's got this dead person and they got maggots crawling around their genitals. I'm going to make a book that smells like that. And then I'm going to have 1,000 of those fucking things here. And then this whole goddamn place is going to be smelling like actual rotted, dug up crotch. I don't want that. You ain't going to want that. You're going to realize you don't want that before I realize you don't want that. So this place is going to have to just be burned to the fucking ground when I move out because the landlord's going to come in after I've cleared everything out and go, shit. So no scratch and sniff. None. No. Unless, of course, one of you motherfuckers comes up with a project. Say, oh, isn't this awesome? I'll be like, yeah. And you'll be like, oh, we need it, scratch and sniff. And I'll be like, fuck. That's how you get your ideas done. How about an LOTFP pinup calendar? That's a problem. That's a problem. Unless it's like me, you want to be the model, and be like, then maybe we can talk. But the idea of like doing a pinup calendar of the girls of LOTFP, that's not exactly. I want to feature them in the artwork all shredded up and in pieces, not presented as sex objects. How's that? Let's see. Do any of the new books have new classes? Do any of the new books have new classes? I don't think so. Although, frankly, the deck of weird things here, it's explicitly set up like the introduction. This is set up as a character customizer. Because what I used to do when I was playing the classic D&D, I would always introduce a deck of many things very early in the campaign. Because the whole LOTFP Chaos Bomb thing, that's how I played normal D&D and messed up what a campaign's supposed to be. So the idea is explicitly you introduce the deck into the player character group very early because players can't resist this stuff, and it's going to change who all the characters are. So, yeah. So it's not a new class, but it customizes characters. That's what it does. Can we have an LOTFP cooking book? You see, I had suggested that to my second ex-wife because cooking was her thing. She wouldn't do it, which I guess is good now because, boy, of all the people that are awkward talking to now that I got to pay royalties to, that would have been the most awkward. Oh. Speaking of which, when I was reviewing the Appendix F of the referee book that I got the layout done, and as I said earlier, over 120 pages for just one appendix in the referee book, and I'm panicking on that. But I'd forgotten. I'm looking over the layout, and what Alex had done is like, oh yeah, my second ex-wife had like made a magic item for the. And I was like, oh, well. That's going to be interesting contacting her. So, where do I send your copy of the book? Fuck. Let's see. Let's see. Another shitty adventure plus scratch and sniff. US exclusive. Send them all to the US store. See, if I was doing that, I'd have to print them in the US store. So that means I'd have to approach some US printer and start asking him questions like, can you make this book literally smell like feces? And you see, I have now a 10-year relationship with the printer I use now. And I tested that early on. Luckily, Carcosa was in the second batch that I use the current printer for. And I actually sat down, the head sales representative, in a meeting discussing Carcosa, and I asked them, is it possible that, like, for the cover wrap, we can have this bound in human skin? Surely you've got some sort of connection in India or something where we can get that done. I felt for Carcosa I had to ask. She was not amused. And the answer was no. So, let's see. Zach mentioned a fuck this book type deal. Why is Zach mentioning all my shit? God damn it. I mean, I understand, like, the stuff that I had to cancel and he's dealing with that, but why the hell is he talking about any other shit? That's yeah. Fuck. Jesus. Yes, that book is coming. The writing's done, editing's done, layout's done, waiting on the art. Game question. In your opinion, what matters more, rules as written or rulings in the game? Rules as written is more important. They can be, depending on the situation that's happening in the game, they can be ignored and thrown out. But rulings that happen on the spot really need to keep the written rules in mind, because the written rules, that's like the skeleton. And if you got to flex the muscles of the rulings in the moment, that still has to be based on the skeleton. So the rulings that you make in the game, for a Lamentations game, they should be different than the rulings you'll make if you're playing RuneQuest, or different if you're playing, Marvel superheroes, or, so the rules you're playing with, that's got to inform the rulings you make. Let's see. It's your favorite scary movie. That's difficult, because what do you mean scary movie? I mean, there are movies that have completely fucked me up, like a Serbian film. I watched that at a film festival where I didn't know what I was going to see when I sat down to watch it, because night visions, one of the advantages of doing a film festival is you just check stuff off the list and just go see movies where you don't know what the fuck they are. And like a Serbian film, that fucked me up. I mean, but it's not like a scary movie. So that's difficult. And then something like Evil Dead 2, but that's like a scary movie, but it's too much fun to say that's the best scary movie. I think for modern movies, I think The Babadook, that when I saw that movie, it was a year after US release, and it wasn't released in theaters here in Finland. So an independent theater had it, I think, the following summer. I was like, oh, I heard good things about that. I'll go see that. And so I'm watching a movie in this dumpy little theater. And when they did the monster reveal, I don't know what happened. I thought I was having a heart attack or a stroke. I thought I was going to shit myself. I thought I was going to piss myself. Like, I just lost all ability to move. The tingling that just went, I was paralyzed in my seat. I was scared to fucking death. And that it's already, that shouldn't happen to a person in their 40s watching a movie. So I don't know if that's the best scary movie I've ever seen, but goddamn, the Babadook, fuck. That's so, yeah. Let's see here. There is a recipe in one of the old ones, though. Well, I'm sure there is. There's a I don't know what you call them. When you're like brewing beer or ale in this case, this one's got a recipe for ale. So that'll be that. I have no idea if it's real. I don't drink, so none of this makes any fucking sense to me. For all I know, it poisons you. Fuck. Yeah, thank you, Gord. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to find out. Yeah, 50 people have died because they used the recipe in this. Don't you check these things? Let's see. Any chance he'll fuck this book hole through the book? Yeah, I've addressed that. Yes, it's coming. Let's see. People who have lost weight sometimes get rid of the extra skin. I guess they could repurpose that skin. How do you get a hold of it, though? And how do you get a hold of it? How do you get it to the printer? And how do you do it so, like, when it's on a, Jesus. Now I want to do that, just see the look on the printer's face. For the past 2 years, I've been collecting people's extra skin after they've had gastric bypass surgery. So yeah, here in these 3 garbage bags, just full of just excess skin. Can we bind a book in that? That's Serpent of the Rainbow. Yeah, that actually, it's been a long while since I've seen that, but I saw it sometime around the time it came out. Maybe a couple of years later as HBO, but I still would have been middle teenager. Serpent of the Rainbow fucked me up. I remember that. But that is a movie. I did see it later on though, and it's well, maybe because I'd already seen it, it didn't have the impact. But yeah, it didn't seem. Another one that's really screwed me up as a kid, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. That that freaked me out. The whole idea that dreams are going to kill you. That, especially the scene in the school with what's her face in the body bag crawling down the school hallway. I was a little kid. What would I have been? 11, 12 years old, seeing that. It's like, ugh. Nightmare on Elm Street actually has an awesome moral to the story as well. The whole point of that goddamn thing, vigilante justice, it doesn't come to a good end. The cycle of violence doesn't stop because you take the law into your own hands. Freddy Krueger exists because parents did not respect the legal system. The thing is, that's actually true, but not the popular thing to say right now. Hey Jim, love LOTFP. Thank you. Ever thought about writing a screenplay? No. I am horrible with pacing. I am horrible with dialogue. I think I'm too tongue-in-cheek when it comes to characters. I think my strength would be coming up with a situation. Let's see here. Let's see. Watch Full Metal. Yeah, I remember Full Metal Jacket. It's one of those. That wasn't very affecting though. I don't know that. It's weird. I think I was born 2 months before the last pullout in Vietnam, so like the Vietnam didn't exist to me as a thing. It's like historical Vietnam War, World War II, World War I. So in the mid '80s, it was like the heyday of all these, Vietnam guilt movies coming out. And as preteen, early teenager, it was just, I don't know. Certainly they didn't hit for me the way they would have hit for someone who lived through the era. Okay. Okay. Let's do this again. Remember, we're still waiting on one book. The foiling is drying. Oh God, I should ask for a picture, because if they've printed out all these sheets for hundreds of copies of books with multiple pages, there's got to be thousands of sheets drying somewhere. That's got to be a great picture, right? Somewhere all these sheets have to be drying, both sides. So they're gonna be like hung up on a clothesline, just around the. So once again, for the new people, the new books, it's like this one's going to be limited edition, 500 copies, 100 copies of the slipcase being made available to the public. 5 color printing. Ooh. Sounds like I'm promoting my own shit sarcastically. Let's see. A book whose title I just call Fermentum, and at one point I was told what this actually means. I have forgotten. Salesmanship. Fancy good book. Big Puppet. that before I go, before going into the plots of any of these things, I'm just going to promote this one for the time being off of Aaron Alfree's artwork. And Adventure Anthology Blood, which includes multiple poster maps. So we're shrink wrapping all of these. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. After No Rest for the Wicked and the Punchline, any chance for a No Magic campaign / sandbox one day? Oh boy. Well, again, do you have a pitch? Send it to me. You can do it. That's my standard response. Any chance this thing I want to see will exist? Well, yes, if you make it. Let's talk. And the thing about that is it's like I knew that No Rest for the Wicked was going to be like no magic, but I don't think of the punchline as no magic, even though technically it isn't, because to me, satanic plague clowns are still strange enough that they might as well be magic. It's kind of like a Batman villain that doesn't have superpowers, but it's still a superhero supervillain dynamic. So I have a hard time of thinking of the punchline as mundane no magic for that reason. What made you choose the A5 format rather than the more traditional larger books? Well, I think at first I was doing like zine format booklet things, and a big floppy ass saddle stitched book is just. Then I guess it just made sense to keep that format. Houses and kitchen tables in Finland are smaller than they are in the US. So if everyone's got their big A4 or the 8.5 by 11 books, that takes up a lot more comparative real estate. I don't know if that actually had anything to do with my thinking, but it is something I have noted. Yeah, it's a difficult thing. Like if you're it's difficult. Like a book like Veins of the Earth, maybe that or this fucking thing, maybe a book like this works. It's you can just read them more comfortably with the A5 size. So at the table and referencing, maybe it's easier. But then once a book gets a certain thickness, maybe it would have made more sense. But it's like there's no reason for like a book like this to yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I just like the handier sizes better. I remember the days of putting a ton of the old AD&D books in my backpack, getting on my bike, and those things were fucking huge and heavy. And it's like okay, yeah. A5 is easier as the table, but would A6 be even easier? Well, I don't know, Aki. That's let's see. A5 is easier to use at a table, easier to hold while you sit somewhere, and easier to read in the bath tube. I'm going to assume that was a typo, but now I'm wondering that if it's not, what exactly is a bath tube, and do we get any here? Or can we get them here? Anyway, a Hexcrawl sandbox illustrated by Roger Dean, Bruce Pennington, and Ian Miller. Well, that sounds like something I don't have the budget for. Comes with 5 sheets of LSD. That's, I'm pretty sure that some of the stuff I publish is actually illegal to sell in some of the places I send them to in the mail, but that's pushing it. 5 sheets of LSD. I'll quit my job and write that. Yeah, yeah. The writing isn't the problem there. That's not the issue. You get the writing done, fine. I'm just thinking those artists and you know, packaging it with LSD. I think whoever wrote that, that would still be a problem. Lamentations in the sky with diamonds. Man, pick a realistic artist and then throw that shit at me. I now get annoyed at larger books. Traveler was the first time I saw the smaller books back in the day, much easier to use in game. Very good. I enjoy LOTFP because I don't need LSD to feel on a trip after reading it. Very good. This is one of these things I assume everyone knows about me, but every time I tell them, they're like, "Get the fuck out of here!" You know, I've never done any sort of drugs. I've never even had a beer. I'm one of those fucking weirdos. So all of this, you know, I don't know. If it ends up still having the effect on people, then very good. I've had to, yeah. Okay, ooh, 23 people in here, the thing says. 24. Ooh, I'm. So, yeah, just to recap, I'm just playing around here, just getting comfortable, thinking I might want to schedule live streams in the future and better be a bit loose and know what I'm doing for when I schedule it and people actually show up. In the meantime, I'm just showing stuff off and answering questions from the chat. So if you have a question and yeah, can't haven't had the first question that makes me hate my life yet, so get to work on that, really, please. But yeah, so you know, let me turn this one around. So you know, we got the 4 of the new books have been printed. We're waiting on the 5th. And then, yeah. And we got 2 new shirts that'll be coming out at the same time. Oh yeah, the convention exclusives from last year, because conventions have been wiped out. I've still got some copies of those. Those will go up on sale at the same time. What else do I have here? Oh yeah, we've got the LOTFP face masks. You know, you're gonna have some sort of deal. You're not gonna buy those. They're gonna be a free throw in with orders kind of thing. That's interesting. Ever since I got the LOTFP face mask, ever since I got the face masks, I've been wearing them every single time I leave the house. Yeah, I'm still not very good with Finnish, so I'm still reading mostly American and British news, and especially in the U.S., it's like wear a mask, motherfucker. You know, here it's like no one's wearing masks, so I'm going out and it's typical. I only really go to the post office and the grocery store. You know, when I go outside, you know, I do like exercise in here, you know, internet workout shit. But so like no one's wearing a mask, and I'm wearing the fucking mask that's got the symbol of death. Not that anyone knows that's what that symbol means. But yeah, everyone just fucking looks at me. Like with my girlfriend, when she was here, it's like last time before, and we decided to go out for a walk, and we're both wearing our masks, even though realistically, you don't really need a fucking mask going out for a walk where you're not going to meet anyone. But I could see when, like, we're on the street and the cars are passing us, the people in the cars are like looking at us, like, what the fuck are they doing? Just because we're wearing the masks. It's like, let's see. When can we put all those books in our cart? Sometime next week is my guess. Again, it's a bit experimental with the printing of the book that hasn't been delivered yet. It's drying right now. So yeah, if everything goes well, sometime next week. Are these books all what we get in 2020? Hopefully not. I don't want to say this out loud. I'm hoping there will be a referee book I can offer to people. It's not unrealistic that it actually comes out this year. Kelvin's got one more at least that will be coming out. I've got the final text. He's working on the artwork now. So that will definitely be ready this year. Who else is doing what? The Antitheses book, that one will be out. What about mask with the LTFP symbol? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what they are. When I had them delivered, that's all I've been wearing. I don't leave the house without one. Something more to come. Yeah, you never know what's going to land on my desk and what's going to land on my desk. And there's probably stuff I'm forgetting because I came into this live chat not anticipating a damn thing. Yeah, so let me check to make sure. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Sorry, just checking my social media while you're all, waiting. Let's see. Will there be LOTFP masks in a shot? Will there be LOTFP masks in a shot? In the shop. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not going to be in the shop. It's going to be like a freebie that gets put in for the people that order all of the new books at once. I've got 200 of those that are ready to go to the public. So you don't buy them individually. It really would, yeah. Then for some reason it feels weird. Like all these bands, it's like I understand why they're doing it. They're another kind of merch, and they're not exactly like medical grade masks. So, it, so they're not exactly health items, but it still seems weird to like sell them like they're t-shirt. I don't know. It's odd. It's very odd. Let's see. Here in Italy, everyone is wearing masks. A lot of people in the wrong and therefore useless way, but you still need to have one. Yeah, I'd actually feel better if they did that here because I know when I wear the masks, that's like for other people. That doesn't help me all that much. And nobody else is wearing masks, so it's just like if no one else is, why the fuck am I doing my? uh, how much do all the new books cost in total? Oh Jesus. Oh boy. I don't actually have that finalized yet. I have an idea, but I'm nervous about how expensive these books cost, and I'm looking at different things with the pricing, and then there are issues with the shipment going to the U.S. So I'm not positive yet. I know I've got to finalize it before they go on sale, but yeah, they're not going to be cheap. These are all going to be high end items. I'll say that. Let's see. Will they hit the U.S. store? Yes, the books. 3 of the books will hit the U.S. store. The Blood, Fermentum, and Big Puppet. Those should be in the U.S. store sometime. Hopefully mid-July, maybe early July, or if there was customs and delays like last time, who the fuck knows? But July, they should be available in the U.S. store. The Deck of Weird Things, and then the last book that I can't. He made a big Vancian title. I can't even remember off the top of my head what the title of the fucking book is. Those are limited edition, and those are not getting sent to the U.S. store. Friend and I usually buy our books together to save on the shipping. Will I be able to get 2 of each of the new books on the same order? Or are we going to be eating a big shipping bill? There's going to be a big shipping bill attached. I mean, just this book. This is Veins of the Earth level shipping stuff, for Adventure Anthology Blood, and the black printed a little, bit dark. The insides look good. We should have brightened the cover a little bit more, but oh well. There's a nice colorful interior. Now I'm looking for a thing. See, I'm completely unprepared. I'm trying to cherry pick the best thing to show you from the interior of the book. Most of the artwork, everything's printed. Can you wait? Where's the fucking camera? The glare, you can see that's printed 4-color different shades, so you can easily get to whatever section. Most of the art inside is black and white art, but we got splashes of color interspersed. So it's good fun stuff. Where's the thing I'm trying to find? Because goddamn, I can't ever find anything out of blah, 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 blah. 22. Oh my god, losing ratings. Oh yeah, here's a fun piece of art. The Bumblebee Bandit. And this is something that no one's going to understand except the real old school fans. The only time I've ever wanted to commission somebody to write like LOTFP fiction or an LOTFP novel, I've been thinking I should commission somebody to write a Bumblebee Bandit book. Just done in that over-the-top parody romance novel style. Yeah. Let's see. So, yeah. Next question. If you're just popping in and listening, just farting around for a while, promoting some of the upcoming books that will save the world because it needs it, because the world sucks right now. But yeah, if you have questions, just pop them in the chat. Yeah. Yeah, I've already been doing this. Let's see, I've been on the air for almost an hour and a half. So if the questions dry up, I won't be sticking around. Any summer plans other than packing piles of hoard? Oh, Jesus. I'm going to answer that question as if I didn't notice who asked it. It's going to be a summer of girls. Girls, girls, girls. No, sorry. No, I don't know what my summer plans are. Packing piles of orders, hopefully. Completing more books, hopefully. Other than that, I don't have any specific plans. There's a great big hole in the schedule the size of the United States in early August. Yeah, it's getting warm here. Excuse me. Open the window a bit. Let's see if... Yeah. I love Finland. And especially, I think maybe this past week, there's been no time that I've been more glad to be living in Finland. However, Finland is horrible. Just a backwoods dump when it comes to one specific thing. These fuckers don't put screens in the windows. So when the weather gets warmer, and people don't have air conditioner in here either because it's Finland, why would you? But in the summer, when the weather gets warmer and you need a little air and you open up the window, there's no screen. And the bugs just come flooding in. Mosquitoes, and flies, and the fucking bees, I swear. I've been hearing for years and years the bees are disappearing because they're all flying in my fucking window. Jesus Christ, screens, people. You are an advanced people. You have grasped modern technology. Please, screens. Okay. No, it's a really difficult subject to talk about. Now that the draft for the referee book is done, wouldn't it be better if you took a more transparent approach in promoting it? Yes and no. I see why you would ask, but until the thing is actually prepared and ready to release, It doesn't feel like for these books. For these books, it's like when they were in process, I wasn't promoting them. When they were in process, I wasn't doing the oh, look what's coming. When Jacob, posted the mock-up of the of this book, he did his mock-up of what the cover looked like months ago. My first thought of, oh, why did he do that? Now people are going to be asking about that. So that's the attitude I have with all of the books. So that is how I'm also going to approach, the book that people do have more of an interest in knowing what the fuck is going on. But that's just, and even, a couple of, 3 of these books I've had sitting in back here for 2 weeks and I haven't shown anybody. And those are imminent releases that are done that I have in hand, and I haven't done much to tell people about them yet. So I don't think that my approach to the referee book is different than that. That's just how I do shit. Yeah. You can install your own screen. Yeah. Theoretically, maybe. I did stay in a place. I lived in a place once where someone did install, homemade screens. And then one day, strong gust of wind knocked it out, and the cat jumped out of a second story window and had to look all over town for it. So yeah, I'm not. It's yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't know how, first of all. So yeah, who knows? Yeah. Okay. Oh, 26. Ooh, record number of people in here as we're just shooting the shit, answering questions in the chat, showing off some of the new lovelies. And if I had actually planned ahead better, I would have gotten some shirts and other goodies that are out of the things. Will there be a GM screen in English like it was done in France? It won't be like it was done in France, but when the ref book comes out, there will be a screen with it. You can have someone do it for you. Well, I don't exactly have the money now to be, commissioning people to put screens in my windows. And frankly, that means I'd have to move furniture away from the windows, and it just seems like a bigger pain in the ass than just complaining about it. Okay. Books look awesome. Okay, so 25 people are supposedly watching this. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. If yeah, that's it. And I'm just going blah 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 until somebody gives me a good topic to talk about. Once again, I'm just assuming this isn't the same 25 people that have been here for an hour and a half, so I can just show off some fun stuff. Poster maps coming with the blood anthology. Deck of weird things. Limited edition book with an even more limited edition slipcase. Knock my microphone. Oh, I love that slipcase. Wow. Big puppet. There and all free artwork. Am I gonna show any of it? No, that's just text. There's some artwork. Yay. I really gotta work on my microphone manner. Let's see. How's the Eldritch Cock feedback coming along? Can you see what gets a lot of traction and what does not? That's difficult because, see, the basic problem there is I've been working with more or less the same system for well over a decade now. And all role-playing systems are a loose approximation of something. And every system you can ever imagine has weaknesses and strengths. And the longer you play and deal with a specific system, the weaknesses are just, what might just be like a little weakness. Of course, it's close to you, but far from me. So maybe I'll. What looks like, a little weakness as time goes on, it's just like, oh, there's the weakness. Oh my God. And so it's like, oh God, I gotta get away from this weakness. And yeah, and so, but the problem is, it's like this is my profession dealing with this. And other people aren't that deep into it and might not feel that what I think is an annoying weakness is, what they think is an annoying weakness. And plus, doing an addition change just for the sake of an addition change makes everybody go, "Ugh, fuck, fuck, fuck." So there's going to be a certain amount of resistance to begin with. And I think people, especially on the saving throws, I don't think people have done the math so much. Because the saving throw system in Eldritch Cock is so much more lenient than the legacy saving throw system. But the feedback that I've seen makes it sound like it makes the game much more deadly. And the legacy saving throw system does get better in most cases, about 6th or 7th level on average, but my experience and the feedback I get is that, you know, most people when they play role-playing games these days, they're not doing the multi-year campaigns that you need to get to 6th, 7th level, so I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. Or should I say the kind of stuff I like and that fits how I think people are playing the game is not being perceived the same way as I'm intending or that I experience it. So that makes it difficult. And not that anything was going to be ready. There's no new rule book in development like at all at this point anyway. So we're not talking about something next year or even the year after. So so it's difficult. The things that make me really excited, and also having the rule of all of the current books, the stats have to be compatible because I'm not doing that bullshit of I gotta all the old stuff can't use it no more. That's bullshit. I won't do. So just trying to play around with stuff, trying to keep it fresh. What's fresh to me just seems like just big foreign change to other people. So I don't know that I can do anything with it. But I liked how I set up that every ability score was so important that you couldn't have a bad ability score, but you're going to just law of averages. And that saving throws become more of a static thing than something that because one important thing that Jeffrey McKinney said about Carcosa, and when he was messing around creating that magic system, is that all the cool stuff in traditional D&D, it makes you wait so long to get to the real goodies. And the Carcosa magic system, and it's also the inspiration for the Vaginas Are Magic Eldritch Cock magic system, is to give players the goodies immediately. And trying to eliminate the importance of character level while still keeping a system that retains the simplicity of a character of a class and level system. That's the needle I was trying to thread. And I've liked it and played games with it, and with Rince's game, we used that, and it seemed to work fine. But the feedback that I've seen has been mostly negative. So I don't know what to do with that. Favorite moment for Reed's game so far? The Fishbowl Wizard. Because after that bit, I went to read. It's like that's your stuff, right? You made that up. You're not running from a module. Well, we need to do something with that because I'm just imagining in my head, Yannick Bouchard doing a cover art of this wizard, and that would be so awesome. And then he was like, that's an interesting way to decide to commission a project. And I'm like, how the fuck do you think it works around here? Will the limited edition slipcase make it to the U.S. warehouse? No, it will not. Problem is, the U.S. warehouse is also the place that does the U.S. retail distribution. So I'm really not wanting to clog their warehouse with stuff that's not going into distribution. So, what adventures are in the Blood Anthology? I'm going to recap that. That's Grinding Gear, Weird New World, Hammers of the God, No Dignity in Death, and People of Pembertonshire. Shire. From the old referee book, are there changes in your ideas and approach to the game? Some. The one that always just screams out at me is the idea of not adventuring in cities. And I think in the old referee book, I had the idea you don't have your adventures in cities. The adventure is out there because I'm not good at running games in towns. And I think I think a lot of people might have that problem, and that's one of the reasons why Vornheim really clicked with audiences the way it did, because it made running adventures in cities so much damn easier. Yeah. Okay. Need new questions. Have I skipped any? No, I seem to have. Okay, yeah. Once again, I'll remind everyone, just shooting some shit here. I'm avoiding doing real work by engaging with the audience because that's valuable work to do, and I'm not, skipping doing anything important right now. Let's see. Love the cover art for your books and the interior art of the Rules and Magic book. Is there any chance of seeing prints available of some of that lovely art? Probably not. The issue is this is all done digitally. And since it's all done digitally, it's all done to size. It's not like we can just put it into a more intense scanner and get a bigger resolution. So we're only if we were to do prints, or if we're going to do like an art book, everything would still, nothing can be reproduced bigger than the size it's already at. Which, to me, because it's all done digitally to size in the correct resolution for printing. So if you're not going to be able to reproduce the art in any grander way, to me, there's no point in presenting it out of its context, if that makes sense. What's your favorite LOTFP book? Blah 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 blah. Well, that's oh boy, that's the hardest one so far. I think in practical terms, it's going to have to be Red and Pleasant Land, because the sales of that book changed my whole life. As far as content, how would I even answer that? I think I would have a difficult time really answering that. I think Broodmother Sky Fortress, when I read that, I was just like, oh my God, everyone's going to love this. I was like much more sure of that than anything else. Let's see, but Towers 2. I remember when that project seemed like such a dumpster fire after Brocky died, but Bittman rescued it, and when he turned in his final draft, I got the final draft just before going to the UK Games Expo. I forget what year, 2014, 2015. I forget what year. So, I printed it out, and I'm reading it on the plane going over to Birmingham. Was this Yeah, Games Expo. So yeah, it's in Birmingham, and I remember just like not believing. It's like, oh my god, can I publish this? I'm going to get in so much trouble. Oh my god, this is wild, and you know, death phalluses and gut wimps, and oh my god, the point of the adventure so someone could put his brother dick on his ass. Oh my god. So during setup day for the expo, or was it the morning before? Whatever we were doing setup, uh, Monty Cook and Shanna Germain had gone as guests of honor, I think it was, to the expo. And I'm still reading through the draft. I've got it all printed out. I'm carrying it around. I think I've set up my table, so I'm going to the back to the elevator to go up to my room because the convention floor was in the hotel, and they're there by the elevators. And I think I was a little bit over enthusiastic because I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you too, you got to read this thing I just got." And they're like, I'm completely oblivious because you have to see this, and there really hasn't been a book with that, or maybe it's just because I haven't been in a position to shove it in anyone's face, but just the idea of getting that book and saying, "You have to read this." Towers 2 is like the one book that I've been that excited to show people shit ahead of time. So maybe Towers 2 is the answer. And I remember being so worried about that one because I think that came out early 2016, I think. And that was coming out just a few months after the whole tournament of rapists nonsense, I think, that the Black Tokyo thing that caused a commotion over on drive through. And I was worried that that was creating like a public atmosphere that was going to cause a lot of trouble for me once Towers 2 came out, since that had a lot of difficult substance that was all fully and colorfully illustrated. But to my surprise, Towers 2 I thought was a book that was going to cause me no end of problems, and nobody gave a shit. So I don't know how to predict this stuff. Uh, what kind of bestiary will be included in the ref book? Okay, the bestiary book is going to be a separate book from the ref book, but will still be available free to all the ref book backers. But it is going to be a completely separate book because that one's going to be its own thick motherfucking bullshit on its own. Okay, when the LOTFP tribute album comes out, who have you booked to play on it? Shit. You see, well, so what I would put basically my mixtape. I mean, that's not much. What are you gonna do? It's just gonna be God. So what? Jess and the Ancient Ones and Reverend Bazaar and uh, Nightingale and what other shit like that. you know. Let's see. I'm fairly new to LOTFP, and I'm curious about the actual lore or headcanon behind the Flame Princess character and some of the other characters that frequently appear in the cover art. Okay, headcanon. Well, it's basically the idea of what was it? Dungeon Crawl Classics had they had their iconic characters, and I think they'd started that before I started. What year did Dungeon Crawl Classics come out? Because the Flame Princess character I was commissioning art for, no, before they came out. I don't know. Oh God, how did this start? Yeah, Dungeon Crawl Classics was 2000. Yeah, I was commissioning art with a Flame Princess character, but it wasn't based. I wasn't working with the person that I'm working with now to use her likeness. That would have started late 2009, so maybe I was taking the idea from Dungeon Crawl Classics and deciding, yeah, I need my own stable of these people. And it is just a thing that almost all of them are local or were local in some place. And I am like a shut-in. And I like collaboration. I like collaborating on things more than I like doing things on my own. And this was just another way of collaborating with people that I would otherwise have no contact with. And this is going to sound bad. This is going to sound creepy. And it's not creepy in that way. But most of the people that I use as the reference models, like young younger attractive women, and the idea of that's a demographic I have no fucking contact with at all ever in any context. So now they're all reaching their 30s, they're not so young. So yeah, I know that sounds really bad, but the idea that I'm not just this old guy dealing with other old guys and other old people all the time, and that there's something creative that I can do with people that are of a demographic that I have otherwise no reason to be anywhere near. It's I know that sounds weird just coming out of my mouth, but it's not meant the way I think it's coming out. um yeah, but that's the story. It was basically that. It's like, okay, I know people, and so it's like, okay, I need characters with art. So a lot of these characters I created with the person in question to come up with ideas. What country should they be from? Do you have any ideas on the costume you want? So the act of creating the character for the artwork was, yeah, it was a collaboration in itself in a lot of cases. And then there's yeah, and I've had so many more ideas for like photo shoots that I want to do and things to do that involve people on the spot. The photo shoot, like the one photo shoot that really came off well, and I was able to use the stuff from it. We did a whole photo shoot for Vaginas Are Magic, that cover. I traveled to another town, worked with a photographer that was a friend of, some of the other models, and got someone in there, and we did a thing, and it was like so much fun. This was like a piece of art that was getting done. That's just not me emailing an artist. I'm like got people around me and we're doing a thing. Even with the collaborations I do with the books, it's never like that. I'm never with people doing a thing. And that felt so good. And I wish we could do a lot more of it that way. Let's see here. Requires the rule to destroy the book once you're done with the campaign, and tables where you can roll or throw a knife at it. Well, wait, what? As a rule to destroy the book. Okay. I don't even like bending pages in a paperback as like a bookmark thing. That's like, I mean, if I have a book that I own and like I drop it and it bends the corner on the cover, I'm like, the book is ruined. So the idea of destroying the book is just like, no, 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 fuck, no, nope, 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 nope. What do you think of Lucis Naturae? Yeah, it was good. I mean, wait, I'm thinking, okay. You see, I'm confusing it because Raphael's done the two monster books, and I'm always confused about which one's which. And to me, they're interchangeable, even though they're different sizes, different formats. One's got one artist through the whole thing, one's got a bunch of artists. But yeah, Raphael does some good shit. So I got no problem. I'd even bought some of the stock off of them. Sold a few. Sold them through the web store. Brought a bunch to Gen Con. So yeah, that worked. The idea of there being an official monster manual, though, even the monster book that I'm going to be putting out eventually, even that isn't an official monster manual. It's not that you're supposed to page through and say, okay, you meet this. It's Lamentations. I think I envision it as being a monster of the week. You're dealing with a monster, and that's the challenge. It's not that's because to me the shit has to make internal sense. And a lot of the problems I have with classic D&D stuff is the shit doesn't make sense to me. I'm the person that's like, wait. What do these things eat? I never got into the idea of the dungeon as the mythic underworld, to use that old school OSR trope. What's the name of the Planet Head character? That's Melissa. That's the same character that's been in a bunch of art without a planet head. What happens to her will be detailed in the artwork in the referee book. So there's shit you're seeing artwork now that's out of order, but you see her rebirth in Eldritch Cock. And that even has an in-rules explanation of why she's got a fucking clock head or a planet head. So yeah, that's the same character that was it's featured in the Rules and Magic book. So yeah, that's the same one. That's Melissa. Melissa named after the Merciful Fate character. Let's see. Any tips on making players' lives hard in The God That Crawls? That's what the entire adventure is. That's all it is. The entire thing is just making players' lives hard. Well, it's all about making the characters' lives hard. If you want to make the players' lives hard, I don't know, attack them with a hammer when they walk in. That's have you played other systems that you consider to contain usable inspirational content / mechanics that can be used in the OSR LOTFP framework? Classic 1980s Warhammer fantasy roleplay. I mean, I don't like the world, I don't like the system, but the entire vibe, I think, there's like a direct straight line inspiration there. A friend of mine washes his hands before reading his books. I should fucking do that. So that's basically where I am. Let's see. How to Rule It told you to take the book to your grave in pristine condition. Yeah. That's the problem, though. Nobody follows the fucking rules in these things. Is there a time period or setting you'd like to write or see written for LOTFP? No, it's all early 17th century stuff. That's such a horrible time to have been alive. The worst time in the history of planet Earth. No matter where on the planet you are, it's just awful. It's horrible. So that's why I like setting stuff in the early 17th century, because so much of it is just the worst. There's no escape. There's nowhere you can go where life is better. Yeah. If it's not nature and microbes killing everyone, it's, you have different beliefs. Die, motherfucker. It's just, I would rather live in any other time than the early 17th century. Any other time. No matter how awful it's been, there's some advance that shows improvement in, for humanity, or there are places you can go to avoid the nasty thing that's happening. Early 17th century, sorry, just fucked. How about leaving the completed campaign to conventions where others might find it instead of destroying it? I still have a red fingerprint of my chips eating friend in one of my books. We are no longer friends. Yeah, fuck that guy. I can't seem to find it, but somewhere I read a list of media you suggested for ideas or something along those lines. On that list was Genital Grinder and Header. Header? Yeah, Genital Grinder. That's in addition to being, that's the book name was taken from the Carcass song, but this book. Oh my God, you will not believe this book. I don't even know how to describe it. Just how do I describe it? Just describing it and saying that I think it's funny is going to make me sound like a complete psychopath. Just imagine Beavis and Butthead were less intelligent and were psychopath sex offenders. Yeah, I don't just that's about it. I'll tell you the plot of one of the stories. It's an anthology. You've got me going on about Genital Grinder now. Jesus Christ. They, our two main characters come up with a brilliant plan to get rich. They know of a rich guy that goes to a strip club and uses the glory hole there. So they've got a plan where when the guy sticks his dick through the glory hole, they're going to cut it off. So then they can ransom it back to him, because who wouldn't give all their money to get their dick back? That's their plan. And that's, it doesn't go quite as they think it, that's the level of, it's not a highbrow concept book, but I've never, but as far as the tone of being like that wacky but that depraved, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So it's hard for me to recommend anything in a similar vein. If you're wanting something more serious than that, then Clive Barker's Books of Blood are just so uncomfortable, because it's just so much of that sex and death combined, and it's not funny, and it's fucked up. And again, straight line influence. Oh my God, I haven't run off the audience with that description. Yeah, we're getting almost 2 hours here. Jesus, I've been doing this almost 2 hours. Okay, I won't be able to stay here forever, but I stay here for a little while longer. So if anyone's got any more questions, and I will show off 4 of the 5 new books that I'll be releasing soon. There's Big Puppet featuring. See, it's hard. It's like the writer is like a first time writer for me, so it's hard to talk up the writing. But I can. But it's easy to just like show you some art and say, you know. So Aaron Alfrey would turn in art like this. And I'm like, do you have releases for all these people? And it's like, no, they're not real people. They're it's all constructed. It's like, you're sure? There's nobody going to say that's my fucking face. No. So Big Puppet, just full of Aaron Alfrey artwork. We've got the Fermentum book by Gord Seller. Your monks and ale and stuff like that, and fun stuff. And then we got Adventure Anthology Blood, which is a big old thick book, brand new design and layout, brand new artwork throughout. Kelvin Green is the artist on this one. He did over 200 and shit. I can't remember. It's either over 200 new pieces or over 250 new pieces. I guess I should check that before I start doing the proper, but like, just full. So that's a big old book. And then this one's going to be those are going to go into full release. Those will end up in the US web store in July sometime, whenever the book gets there. And then we have limited edition book with an even more limited edition slipcase. This is one of mine, the Deck of Weird Things, with a 5-color, fancy ass, thick as shit slipcase. So, and all of these books cost me a pretty penny, so save your pennies, because I'm fucked if you don't. Okay, Big Puppet is an adventure, right? It is. Well, yes, it is an adventure, but it's the kind of thing that introduces sort of like a faction. Like there's a group that's doing stuff, and they have all their own stuff and their way of doing things and their own magic items. So it's also a source book for this weird group as well. So it's not simply an adventure that then, okay, never use it again. Let's see. Thanks for doing this. Welcome. Thank you for taking questions off books. Anyway, says if you were to recommend an adventure to run for a new player to LOTFP, what would it be? Death Frost Doom or Tower of the Stargazer. Stranger Storm could also work. Yeah. Hypothetical. Budget and sales are not a consideration. What would be your dream project? Let's see here. Dream project. That's difficult. I think the dream project is more of what it would be more than who does it. But What I really wish someone could do is take like the early modern world or, early 17th century Europe and write it up like a setting, like the old Forgotten Realms gray box. Just present the real world in in a role-playing setting way, because people tell me they have trouble doing the real world as the setting for their game because they're afraid of screwing it up in a way that they don't give a shit if they screw up a fictional world. So if I can get someone to write the book so that it looks and feels like a role playing setting is presented, that would get people more into the historical context. Um, is the deck 5-color book basically the meat grindy edition of the classic deck of many things formula? Yes and no. Definitely the deck of weird things is definitely the adaptation. It's not meat grindery though, since it's being specifically positioned to introduce to your players early, basically to customize characters, because I've heard that a lot, that Lamentations characters don't have a lot of the customization and you know little tweaks and levers and stuff that people like for their modern role-playing games. So this is a way to introduce that without changing what the system is. So it's not designed to be meat grindery, but it is designed to change the players and the game. What is the Gardening Society character in the LOTFP store? I used to have a thing. I used to have a certificate, used to have actual membership cards where you could buy into the Gardening Society, where for paying in now, you get discounts and everything later, like the fan club, loyalty club thing. Yeah, that's what that was. But then I ran out of cards, and I thought I'm not gonna. And then so many people would sign up for it. I got still a stack of cards here. People would sign up for it and then never make a follow up order. So then, because the card gets put in with the next order, and it's like, what? Yeah, yeah. So maybe I'll bring that back at some point. I don't know. It's yeah. So next question as we hit 2 hours on this live stream. What do you think of the OSR? Oh fuck, is that almost sounds like trolling. I haven't paid attention to anything anyone else has been doing in role playing for well over a year, probably looking at a year and a half or even more. So how do I don't. Jesus, I'm not trying to say anything that creates clickbaity headlines. Jim said this in his live stream, but like over the years, I'm sure I kept talking about, this should be a creative scene. This shouldn't be like a social thing. And the social part in like this is, to me, the OSR should be, you're in the OSR if you're making a certain sort of thing or things with a certain system. The idea is you have to be a certain sort of person to be in this clique. To me, that I'm not interested. I don't care what it is. I don't care if I like or am the sort of person that they say you have to be. If you're if you're in a scene that's supposed to be doing creative things, the creative things are the definition and the point and the important things. The people don't mean shit. The people can come, the people can go, but while they're in doing this stuff, they can be in this group because the group is all about this thing. And once that ceases to be the case, the entire thing becomes worthless. That's basically, you show me a social clique and I'll show you something that I don't like it. I've always been the outsidery kind of person. I can't fit in with people. But if there's a thing that people are doing, I can do the thing. And so therefore I can get along with the other people in the context of doing the thing. And that's how I feel comfortable. And then when you're saying, well, you also have this outside, I can't do it. You that's not specific to the OSR. That's just in general about how I am and how I deal with people. I can't fucking do it. Can't fucking do it. Yeah. Yeah. Even though I live in the US, I'll be purchasing from the EU store. Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do as far as pricing and shipping, and I've got ideas that I think, but they're not 100%, so I don't want to say anything quite yet. I think people, I don't know. I don't know. I'm nervous about this. I'm nervous about this, but I just hope when the new book is delivered that it's so visually striking that I feel like this is the cement, this is the thing that, no one can ever get anywhere else, and no one's ever done something quite like this, even though someone's sort of done something in the format. This is the band Mirror, where I took formatting inspiration for the book that's still at the printer. So if you haven't heard me talk about this is the band Mirror. They're a multinational group. Fucking excellent. And absolutely ungoogleable because they called themselves Mirror, but what are you going to do? That's a different band than Mirror Queen, by the way. Mirror Queen is another very good band. They're out of New York, I think. Anyway, do the people have any more questions? Supposedly there are 23 people watching this video right now. 24 people. Okay. Well, for anyone that's just recently stopped by, I'm just doing a very loose kind of live chat, showing off new books and taking questions from the chat. Nothing very formal. So if you have any questions, just pop into the chat and, just get me rambling on. You're awesome. Keep on trucking. I plan to. My brother is here too. Well, hi to your brother. Something more about the book with the cross on the cover. My favorite thing. Oh, God. See, I know. Wasn't one of the... This will show you exactly how up I am on theological things. The upside down cross, that has an actual, Christian meaning. I know this sounds so ignorant, but somebody got crucified upside down, didn't they? And so whenever someone's all like metal and Satan and does the upside down cross, yeah, St. Peter's cross. So whenever someone's like, oh, fucking metal and Satan, they're like, oh, that's Satan, and it's like, well, yes, but that's not what we mean. That's a thing. But yeah, it's so the decision was made to make the title in Latin, and I hope we've gotten the Latin better. I hope we got that more correct than the time I put Norwegian on a T-shirt and fucked that all up. Because it's funny, I had asked a few different Norwegian people on that T-shirt, how do you say this? And they all gave me different answers. And apparently one of them was right, but that's not the person I listened to. So then when the shirt came out, the person that had it right was like, what the fuck? And it's like, well, I just rolled a die. One of you had to be right, and I didn't know which. So anyway, I've completely forgotten what the title of this book means. I guess I need to go back through my emails and figure that out before I actually release the book. Hopefully the translation is not fuck James Raggi and fuck Lamentation of the Plain Princess. The Black Brew of the God of the... Okay, yeah, something like that. Yeah, Thomas, you got the Black Brew of the God of the Grave. That's close. That rings bells. I don't think that's not exactly right, but close enough for our preview purposes here. Here's the thing. I don't know how to promote books like this because I feel if I tell you about it, that'll ruin the surprise because I don't know who's listening to this who might be a player Because if I knew that everyone listening to this was a referee, I could just go through and say, yeah, this is what about bam, bam, bam. But then someone might be a player, and I don't want to fuck it up. Yeah. So basically, the adventure takes place around a monastery where where you got some monks and they're making some ale, and there's strange goings on surrounding that. That's what this is about. I think that's general enough. I'm not spoiling any play surprises. Most of my friends play 5e, and most are resistant to the idea of playing LOTFP. What would be the best way to kill them? Okay, here's what you do if someone doesn't want to play LOTFP. As I understand it, there are a number of very sick and disturbed individuals who like playing and using Lamentations material with the 5e system. So apparently, it's not that difficult to do the conversions. So I'm told. I don't know myself. So if they don't want to play LOTFP and they just want to play 5e, it's like, that's easy. Play 5e and run Lamentations Adventures. I mean, you shouldn't be like when you're running a published adventure for people, you shouldn't be brandishing the cover and saying, this is what we're playing now. That's with it should be. How should I say this? They should have some question about that. So you can introduce Lamentation stuff into a 5e game and still be playing 5e, and just just crank the weirdness up a little, just a little first. Yeah. Any plans for LOTFP new merch other than books? We got 2 shirts that are in boxes there, and if I had planned better, I would have taken a couple out before starting the live stream. But yeah, we got 2 new shirts that will be going on sale with the books. One of them is the Dr. Slug, because the shirt place was, I guess, trying to drum up business in the middle of the pandemic. And they were doing like a big sale. So I was like, oh, fuck, if they're doing a sale, I'm going to get some merch. So Dr. Slug, since that seemed like the hero that we all needed in the middle of the pandemic. Now, of course, nobody seems to give a shit. Everything's opening back up, and in the US, nobody cares about social distancing anymore. Obviously, I watch the news. So the Dr. Slug is now an outdated concept, and I hope people buy the fucking shirt anyway. And then we've got one print of the cover art from the old box sets. The Flame Princess facing down the Snake Demon. And that one was made possible because the people I was using for t-shirts previously in the US, like 2 different places, they couldn't do it. They were working with just 8 inks. And but this place I use out of Germany, they can do 10 inks, and so they were able to make it look good. So we finally got that on a shirt. The upside down cross is the cross of St. Peter. Yes, that's that. Well, that is correct. Someone else had already popped that into chat, but duplicate correct information is still not much of a problem. Any chance of posters with the same art as the t-shirts? No, because posters are such a pain in the ass to ship and expensive as all hell, and needs its own special packaging for shipping. So if I were to sell a poster, just because of the size and the shape, it would cost me between 1 and 2 euros. I forget how much the poster tubes cost. Maybe not that much. But like shipping to the US would be 40 euros by itself. Perhaps. But you see, I don't want to put anything into the US warehouse that doesn't go through distribution, because they don't. Because that's their main job, not fulfilling my orders. So I don't know if it would be possible / easier to get posters printed in the US and sell them through the US web store. How about more posters for conventions next year? Possible. But then there's the issue of if I print more posters, or yeah, I mean, that's possible. It would have to be one of the conventions where I'm having stuff shipped in, because what I do is, for a lot of the conventions, I just buy 7 or 8 pieces of luggage and bring them all on the plane, and that's how I bring my stock. So posters would still be difficult to transport doing that. So yeah, it's not a hard no on the posters. They're awkward as product. I survived 2020 and now it's up to LOTFP would be a great shirt or poster. In regard to conventions, are there any notable ones in the EU that you want to attend? Usually, sorry. Well, I usually do, what is it? GothCon, UK Games Expo, EuropaCon, Dragon Meet, and Spiel are the ones I usually do. What other ones? What is it? The one in Italy, Lucca? Is that the one it's called? That one sounds like it would be interesting. I've heard people in the US will pay a lot more for the LOTFP bucket than in Finland. Jesus Christ. Oh, why is my eye tearing up? Excuse me a moment. So you've heard. So how much are people wanting to pay for LOTFP buckets in the US? I'm very curious, because it was such a pain in the ass just to bring that one last year for the charity thing. That was ridiculous. And again, to ship a bucket from Finland to the US, just the shipping would be 40 euros, just because of the size and shape. So it's very difficult to do offers where although maybe with the new stuff, if it's already going to be in the bigger pack, oh Jesus, that's an idea. How did they pay for? How did they pay for the last one? How do you mean? Ask that question with. Ask that question with all of the information in the question. Jesus, my fucking eye. See, this is okay. Well, I'm waiting for Heike to clarify his question. I just want to note that it's ridiculous that this left eye gives me problems when it doesn't really work. I effectively just have one eye. And the eye that's always tearing up and giving me physical problems is the one that can't do shit anyway. Sunglasses, sweatbands, fanny packs. Probably not. Probably LOTFP bricks. Yeah. Yes. When you're wanting to pad your shipping. Okay. How much did they pay for the last bucket you sold them? You mean the people in the U.S.? Oh, what was that? I know for the bucket and the damaged copy of Red and Pleasant Land that I used in the bad book video, I think someone paid $125 in the auction, and then Mike matched it. I don't know, something like that. It was like over $100 for the book and the bucket, but it was a charity auction that Mike had the video up for a bit, that I think 2 or 3 people showed up for. It was just fucking. I was just, I just publicized it on social media that day. And so then when we stood up outside the convention center at Gen Con, and there's people just gathered around their various groups, just hanging out after the vendor room had closed. And I stand up, now is the auction. And everyone's looking at me because there's no one in front of me. And then one person shows up, 2 people show up. And luckily the people that did show up had some money to spend. So we were able to generate, a decent amount of money for 2 stupid little items, generate decent amount of money for the Ronald McDonald House. So at the end, after we raised the $250 total or whatever it was, people, the just random people around were just giving us a round of applause. It was very surreal. Let's see here. Will you be doing any more projects with Jeffrey McKinney? Well, that's up to Jeffrey McKinney. he's particular with what he wants or what he wants to do. He really doesn't do stuff on spec. Oh god, how do I say this? I don't mean this in a bad way, but he doesn't really take direction. It's pretty much, this is what I want to do. Well, you could do this. No, no, no. This is what I want to do. And that's kind of, I won't go into details because that's, you know, but there's a reason why he released further Carcosa material independently and I didn't release Carcosa 2 because we just couldn't agree on what the product should be. And so he just said, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And I was like, well, fair enough. How about you post 600 DPI PDF files if people can print them themselves? Well, okay, the thing, is there any chance we can ever see more Red and Pleasant Land in print? That's, oh Jesus, that's the thing. That's the thing. How do I answer that? And the world comes standing still. It's a difficult thing because even letting Zach in the in the Facebook group, even not treating him worse than any freaking stranger off the street, I've lost another collaborator that dropped out of a huge project that I was depending on because that person was getting pressure from other people. There was like 4 degrees of separation and more shit still just rolled right onto me, just the way I see it, for not hating a certain person enough. Actually working with him again, it's to me a practical issue of the chaos that would cause is more of I just fear it would be more of a distraction than the benefits from working with him. And that's the reality of the situation. Because it's not just a problem with, oh, this person won't work with me, this person won't work with me, but then there's the problem of, this retail outlet goes away and this already the places I can get publicity has shrunk just because I wouldn't say, oh, he's a motherfucker, piece of shit, and I hate him forever, and I'm gonna, burn all of the books I have in storage of it, just for not doing that, I've lost so much. So just saying, okay, let's work together again. There's just practical concerns that way. Yeah. It's not good, and I know it's probably, if I leave this up later, there's going to be people saying, "Oh, look at that." It's a difficult thing to talk about because then people obviously hate him for reasons that I don't want to have to dance around legally and what my lawyers say I shouldn't or shouldn't talk about here, but yeah, yeah, it's just a difficult big sack of shit. And there's like certain things I can be made to bend on, certain things I won't, and I seem to have picked the path of most resistance, where like I'm not taking advantage of his creative talents, but I'm still catching all the shit. It's weird. Anyway, next subject. Next subject, please. Next question. Okay, coming up on 2.5 hours. We still got over 20 people that are supposedly watching. Maybe they're new people. Maybe they're the same people that have been here forever. But, this is what the new books look like. These are 4 of the 5. We got one that's still being printed, sort of in experimental format. The pages are drying before the next stage of printing can begin. That's what I'm told by the printer. But we've got the final anthology, adventure anthology, Blood. So we've got Blood, Fire, Death. That's all done, and this is going to come with some poster maps. So this thing's going to have to be shrink wrapped. So I hope that doesn't affect the retail possibility, since I've heard people like to page through books in the store. But we couldn't make what I'd wanted to do at first is get a pocket attached to the inside of the book. Or wait, yeah, get a pocket attached here, and just make the spine a bit thicker to accommodate the extra posters. Apparently, the book printers said that's a very, very bad idea. So I didn't know how to deal, because some like at least one of the maps would not fit, on a surface. It's an A3 size. It's double this size. So once we had to have one poster map, it's like, fuck it. That's how we'll handle several others. So we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully you don't hate it, because this was fucking expensive. But yeah, it's a reprint of Grinding Gear, Hammers of the God, Weird New World, No Dignity in Death, and People of Pembrokeshire. It's got all new design, all new layout, all new artwork. Literally hundreds of new art pieces in this book. So it's not like Fire and Death that were just straight reprints of the existing layouts. All new from scratch from the text. I say from scratch, we reused a couple of the old maps. We then got Fermentum, a nice fancy ass book about monks brewing ale, and I keep turning. It's like every time it goes to that page with the freaking, So all sorts of, this one's got the layout from Jacob Hurst. I keep hearing, when's the Swordfish Islands LOTFP book? There's no Swordfish Islands LOTFP book. The guy that did the design for this is the same guy that did the Swordfish Islands. That's the connection. We've got Big Puppet. I'll give you a hint. The tagline in the back: "This isn't a game, and it never was." So that's going to be the teaser, but it's full of Aaron Allfrey artwork, just tons. I mean, the page count expanded because Aaron would take a thing. It's like, this idea that you have here that's supposed to just be half a page, let me just do a whole full spread. And we were like, okay. And then it's going to be a limited edition deck of weird things. The book will be limited edition. The fancy ass 5-color slipcase will be even more limited. And the slipcase is like hardcover, thickness board on the slipcase with, 5-color shiny ass awesome shit. This one's written by me. Basically, it takes the idea of the deck of many things, from Dungeons and Dragons, and just changes it around, makes it very weird. It has 216 options, uses a full 50, it's a book, so you'll need a deck of cards to take advantage of it. I couldn't print there is not enough space on a card to print all the descriptions. So basically, you draw a card from a 54-card deck, including the Jokers. And then for each card, there are 4 options, about what the actual effect is. And the idea is that you introduce that into your campaign early, so the characters all end up rather customized. Let's see here. It's not your job to be worrying about hearsay and others' opinions. Well, you would think that's not my job, but it does directly affect who I'm able to work with, and my relationships with retailers and with distributors and all sorts of shit, and it affects my ability to go online without without it just feeling like I'm the most hated person on earth. So whatever my job should be, it's not necessarily what my job is. Just in case you delete the live stream, actually, which books will not be making it to the U.S. warehouse? Okay, Fermentum and Adventure Anthology Blood and Big Puppet. Those are going on the boat to the U.S. warehouse. The shirts, the masks, we will have LOTFP face masks as an add-on, to go in free with orders. But the Deck of Weird Things and the book that's still at the printer, those are limited edition, not going through the retail chain. So those are going to be European web store exclusives. I am trying to figure out an idea for a book to print in the US to make that a US web store exclusive, just so this isn't always so lopsided. Because I know Midwinter, that's here, so that's not in the US web store. I want to do something that's exclusive to the US web store, so that's evened out. You know what I mean. Are there any plans to partner with IKEA to get a special LOTFP bookshelf? I think I need some exponential growth before I can talk to them, but yes, it's very sharply spotted that I'm trying to this. Yeah, I think every single piece of furniture I own, every single piece, yes, is from IKEA, because when I moved in here, it's yeah. Yes, well spotted. With all the reprints, compilations, is there a vagina plus cock on the horizon? No, but somewhere down the line, the idea is to take the entire spell list and convert it into that system. And if that ever gets done, then the spells from those books will be part of that book. Was it ever your plan that folks use your books as an investment for them? For them, they grow old. Maybe I should just do like really limited edition books. Just like, here's 100. This is as much as this book is ever going to be printed, and they each cost 1,000 euros. Maybe I should experiment with that. What are the shipping costs? Finland, Poland? Anyone knows? Well, it depends on what you're ordering. I can tell you if you're ordering a big old pile of books, a big parcel, if the weight's under 2 kilos, that's 30 euros to Poland. If it's over 2 kilos, it's 44 euros to Poland. So, but that's if you're ordering thick, big thick stack of books. The weird thing about the Finnish postal system is the weight is almost secondary. It's the thickness that determines whether it's letter class or it's a parcel. And when it's a parcel, that's when it's expensive no matter how light it is. It's a big pain in the ass. So, let's see here. Okay. Are there any more questions? We've got 24 people supposedly watching this, and I'm just shooting some shit while I'm, showing off books, answering questions in the chat. I can't wait to get all those books in my hands. It sucks that I can't see LOTFP at Gen Con this year. I have mixed feelings about that. Because like last year, 1/8 of all revenue was generated for 1/8 of all of LOTFP's gross revenue was generated at Gen Con. So that's a problem. The other problem for me personally, no Cinnabon. That's been like an important destination for me every year. Just getting this pastry that's just drenched in semen. I think it's like, oh, I can do that once a year. Yeah, that's. I don't know why I said that out loud. But yeah, the plus side is I don't have to get on a fucking plane for 9 hours. That's so there's a plus. Twice, I'd have to do that twice. So yeah. Okay. Okay, chat room people. Got to drop LOTFP a game in 30 minutes. Very good. Very good. Remember, there's a lever, pull it. There's a button, push it. I don't know that will make your game successful, but it will make it not boring. Okay, people, I've been on this live chat for 2.5 hours. If there are no more questions in the chat, then I am going to go back and do something. Can I pull the button? Pull my finger. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So at this point, the questions seem to be slowing down. I'll give it another minute or two for someone to come up with a question. A finishing rant. What do you mean finishing rant? I've been blah, blah, blah. What am I going to rant about? I mean, the only things I feel like ranting about are like current world events and politics and shit. And, it's like nobody wants to hear that shit from me. I mean, no one wants to hear the shit from the people that are fucking important. So, just don't burn shit down. Whatever cause you believe in, follow the cause. Don't fuck with other people or their shit. That's my world events rant. Wrestling rant. Okay, well, I don't know, because the past 3 months there's been no New Japan Wrestling, and I don't give a fuck about WWE or AEW. It's just New Japan. But Japan's starting to lift their restrictions, so I don't think they've released a return date yet, but New Japan's, I assume is going to be starting back up soon. So, yeah, it's going to be fucking great to watch some fucking serious wrestling. And if you watch pro wrestling at all, New Japan Pro Wrestling, njpwworld.com. I watched a WWE show. Well, I went to a house show. They came to Finland last year. I went to that because I wanted to show my girlfriend what wrestling is like, and it was literally the worst show I had ever been to. I've been to the dumpy shit professional wrestling shows where 10 people have shown up, and those were better shows than WWE in Finland. So if you like professional wrestling, I much recommend New Japan Pro Wrestling, and leave all the garbage behind. NJPW is king. It is the king of sports. And they also happen to feature Minoru Suzuki, who is the king of wrestling. And he was robbed. He should have been king of the US. Yeah. Were you an ECW guy? For a while, to me, ECW, the best of ECW was Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit. They brought in Rey Mysterio Jr. and Psychosis, and I think Juventud was there too. Yeah, he was there. I liked the wrestling part of ECW. I wasn't into flaming tables and barbed wire and all that stuff. And like the early days, with Sabu and Public Enemy, the kind of action seemed wilder, but it wasn't serious. The thing about me, when I watch wrestling, I want to believe it. It's like when I watch a movie, I want to be engrossed in the reality of the movie. Same thing with pro wrestling. Anything that happens in pro wrestling where they give you any sort of wink that it's all bullshit and they know it's bullshit and they know that you know it's bullshit, I don't like it. I don't want it. The time that I'm watching the show, I want to believe that it's real, and I want them to respect both their craft and their audience by putting on a show that can be accepted as real. And a lot of problem, yeah. So I have a lot of problems with US wrestling. And, Japan has a lot of like joke pro wrestling too, but the places that are serious, and I appreciate that. It's still real to me, damn it. Yes. I mean, people make fun of that guy. I forget his name. I used to know what the name was. The guy, that clip, even people not into wrestling may remember that. It's still real to me, damn it. And everyone makes fun of that guy. But what he was doing, he was at a Q&A. And he was in tears because this was a time, especially when so many wrestlers were dying young. And he's basically expressing his sorrow that his heroes are dying, decades before they should. And he's showing actual appreciation and emotion for the human beings that have given their body to entertain him. And he gets fucking mocked on the internet for it. That's fucking bullshit. If I ever meet that guy, I'm going to shake his fucking hand. Because, yes, it's still real to me, damn it. And I'm getting choked up just thinking about it. So, if you're making fun of that guy, fuck you. Okay? Jesus Christ, you got me ranting on wrestling and getting emotional about Jesus, people. What are you doing to me? Yeah, I watch wrestling for a different reason. I respect why I watch it. It's personal choice, and everyone should enjoy it the way they want. I think, yeah, I think that's true. But I could understand, especially people move between organizations, and if you're a fan of a wrestler in one context, and then that wrestler goes to a different context, and you're unable to enjoy that one wrestler the same way that you used to, especially if he's being treated badly or portrayed badly in the new place, I can very much understand the hostility. Yeah. That's the issue. It's not just about the organization and the focus, but the talent. And I haven't seen any AEW, but I can see how it drives people nuts, where on the same show they'll have very serious wrestling, very engaging, pull at the heartstrings. I mean, I watched the Cody Rhodes promo after the Dustin match last year, and that makes me think, oh, I should get into AEW. But then you see the other shit they do, and it's like I would just be pissed off at half the show. So I'm just, it's like a shame I miss half of it, but I don't need to make myself angry watching wrestling either. So there's, yeah, let's okay. This I don't. We probably sound like aliens to the people who don't give a shit about wrestling right now. So, any more role playing related questions? Because we're still here in the chat, 2 hours 45 minutes in almost. I've been showing off the books that will be on sale, hopefully sometime next week. Can you do a pro wrestling LOTFP module? I've been thinking, like, not necessarily a module, but yeah, because the whole pro wrestling, it grew from like traveling, like like traveling wrestlers that were basically fooling local populations into placing bets on the matches that were fixed. So it's so even though that like barnstorming kind of thing is more an 1800s thing, the idea that there are traveling tough men who would challenge the local, the local tough guy, and then they've got their accomplices, making bets. I mean, That could certainly work 17th century. There's not a problem with that to get to the roots of what pro wrestling is. What you would do with that as far as an adventure goes, I got nothing off the top of my head, but but once again, can you do a pro wrestling LOTFP module? No. Can you do a pro wrestling LOTFP module? You make the pitch, you do it for me. That's how shit gets done. Will the new books be available as PDFs? Yes, they will all be available as PDFs, and they PDFs should come out no more than a couple days after the print books are first made available. Yes. Did you ever mix wrestling into any of your RPG games? I did play, was it the 90s, early 2000s? I forget when it was. Somebody released a WWF role-playing game, which was a failure in the fact that you roll, to see if you hit all of your moves, and it never resembled a WWF match, let alone any of the, ECW-ish or New Japan stuff that I was watching in the 90s and wanted to simulate. It couldn't simulate or produce anything that resembled any form of wrestling that anyone would ever watch in the real world. So, yeah. But yes, there has been a WWF role-playing game that was out there. Okay, questions. If you're out there listening and you haven't popped into the chat, you might want to do so, and then I will answer your question. And if the questions are fizzling out, then so will I. Will you ever consider publishing sci-fi space adventure scenarios? Well, that's what Carcosa is. The trick though with sci-fi space adventure scenarios is not the fact that they're sci-fi space adventures, since all of the demons and everything are basically aliens, extra dimensional. It's all sci-fi shit anyway. From the framing of LOTFP, the question is, we've got so much stuff and we've established that this is what an LOTFP game looks like, that just throwing in a sci-fi adventure would be so out of context. If someone enjoys that and gets into LOTFP because of that, they got nowhere else to go within LOTFP. And if people are into what LOTFP is now, what the fuck are they going to do with the space adventure? So I'm not against the idea, but there's got to be some sort of bridge. There's got to be some way that people in existing LOTFP games would be able to make use of it. So that's the trick there. Will VOD of the stream be available after it's over? Why not? Until it causes me a headache, and then I'll be like, fuck it, take it down. But yeah, I think it's gonna be up. No reason for me to make this live exclusive when. What time did I start? It was like 6 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah, this wasn't scheduled, so there's no reason to penalize people for not being here. Look at that. All the boxes of shit. Yeah. There's so many boxes everywhere. I really hope these new books are a hit and you buy lots of them very quickly, because I am quickly running out of space and out of money. And I really hope you people are interested and like it, because that's, yeah. But yes, as far as I'm concerned, these new books are going to save our troubled world. So I tell you, if everybody just sat down and played some Lamentations of the Flame Princess together, maybe over the internet, Zoom actually, as I found, works for playing role-playing games. It, worked better than the G Plus Hangouts and Skype, and it's like, holy shit. So if everyone just stays home, plays Lamentations of the Flame Princess over the computer, you have no fear of the virus, don't need to worry about it, and you're not getting in any trouble on the streets. So Lamentations of the Flame Princess. You just believe in it and play it. If everyone did it, there'd be no problems in the world. uh, how big is the unfinished book going to be? The unfinished, it's not that big. It's going to be a saddle stitch booklet, about, I think it ended up being 24, 26 pages. 24, I think. Might be off a bit, but yeah, it's not a big book, because doing the experimental foiling all the pages and let them dry and then printing more ink, that we're testing that out on a very much smaller release first. We're not doing an experimental hardcover big deal with that. Maybe later, after we see how it turns out, then we'll use those techniques for a larger project. But yeah. Are there any properties that you deep down secretly wish you could license for publishing? I actually tried going after Human Centipede back when that was the hot thing, but they wanted a huge amount of money, and I'd only be able to release it in a very limited geographic area, so that didn't work for me. But the big thing I would want to license, like the dream license, is Books of Blood, Hellbound Heart from Clive Barker. That, yeah, there's nothing else. Nothing else I give a fuck about. That's the dream license. Okay, when will these hit the stores? They should hit the EU web store sometime next week, I'm hoping, if there's no complications with the new book. They'll hit the three that are going to the US web store. They hopefully will arrive in the middle of July. They'll be available, but given how 2020 is going, the boat might probably gonna fucking sink on the way over. As far as hitting like retail stores, probably won't start getting through the chain until August. It's my guess. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Player facing. Okay. This is the one. The problem with the maps, and I see this in reviews all the time, that the maps are just like have the keys on them, and it's like that's how they're made. Well, tabletops aren't even on my mind at all ever. And I'll admit, for a long time, when people were complaining in reviews about, the maps having the keys on them and not being able to take the keys off, and I was like, why? Those aren't for the players. The players shouldn't ever be seeing those anyway. What's the problem? So it's just a different mindset. I'm not at all familiar with virtual tabletops or any reason why the players would ever need to see the maps. So yeah, I can see I can bug Alex going forward, because he's making most of the maps these days. If the keys can be like put on a different layer, and see if that's too much pain in see how much of a pain in the ass it is, and whether that creates any extra hours that the project gets billed for. So yeah, I'll look into that. What adventures will be in the Blood Anthology? Okay, that is, you'd think I'd have this memorized. That's Grinding Gear, Hammers of the God, Weird New World, No Dignity in Death, and People of Pembertonshire. It's stuff that's been long out of print from 2009 and 2010. I'm hoping most of you don't have them, because the print runs on that earlier stuff were not very large. But yeah, Blood, that's, the Fire and Death anthologies that are out, we used the existing designs and layouts and just basically did a straight reprint. For the Blood anthology, completely new design and layout from the ground up, all new art, over 200 fresh pieces of art. So here we are, Lamentations of the Flame Princess YouTube channel live streaming. We're coming up on 3 hours now. We've been taking questions in the chat. We've been rambling. We've been talking. We've been getting people excited. Any more questions from the chat? Anyone? Whoop whoop. Oh yeah, there's a bit of a. I keep forgetting. I know this happens. I keep forgetting that what I'm seeing and what I'm saying, there's a delay before you hear it. So I do the nothing in the chat. No one's reacting. And then it's just a little bit later. It's like, oh. I just keep forgetting that happens. Will we get LOTFP pitchforks? Seems that would be a shipping issue. I don't know what other LOTFP farming implements are people interested in. Yeah. That's the problem with like knickknacks and things. They're either freaking useless or they're a pain in the ass to ship. I mean, I just got there's this place that does branded bullshit. That every so often I get this sample, and they've sent me everything from notebooks with pens with the sample branding on them, all sorts of pens. Like I'll get just free samples in the mail of this shit all the time. I made an order with them. I think was it last year. I actually ordered stuff from them. See, like I got that one. This is another one, and then I got one this past week. And it's this little plastic thing, and it's like a bottle opener and an LED light and a keychain, and just like this ridiculous multi-purpose plastic thing. And it's like, okay, I can order some of these, and it would be like buy LOTFP and get random crap. I mean, at least last year when I did the condoms, the promotional condoms, that's funny. Because people bought stuff at Gen Con and say, and you get one of these. And they're like, what the fuck? Somehow people don't appreciate randomly having condoms put in their face. It's Americans. Yeah. LOTFP miniatures of all the characters from the artwork. Okay, once again, I know jack shit about minis and manufacturing and sculpting. So if there's a company out there that does minis that would like to license an LOTFP line, I'm sure you'd receive no negative feedback for doing that. Sorry, being a bit catty about that. But yeah, if you're a company that wants to do that kind of thing, then get in touch and let's put together a license. And yeah, condoms don't go on faces. How are you using them? Where do you put? I mean, really? Where do you put them? Oh, I don't know. My characters tend to get stuck on buying equipment and character creation, wanting to spend their starting silver as efficiently as possible. Do you have any tips for speeding that up? Yeah, Reins did an interesting thing. Now, I don't know if he stole this from somewhere, if this is a proprietary thing, so I don't know if this is a... So, yeah, next time Jeff Reins has a game, sign up for it so you can see his methods, because I don't know if that's something I should be spreading publicly yet. LOTFP style She-Ra action figures. Was She-Ra... I mean, obviously it used a different mold, but I had a bunch of He-Man figures. Was She-Ra different besides using the lady mold? I don't know. But yeah, my tips for speeding up equipment, yeah, that's rough because, yeah, that's what happens in my games. Everything goes quickly, and then it's time to go shopping, and then it's just like... So yeah, but the problem is the solution is different tables. Here's your random selection of crap. But then people are always going to want crap, or after the first adventure, they'll get some treasure, and you're just pushing back the big shopping, the big shopping trip until the second session. So even if there was a way to speed things up and give people their equipment early, at some point they're going to want to customize their equipment list. The question is whether they do it now or a little later. So I don't know. What's the project you're doing with Joe Bittman? Heard about it in a podcast a year or so ago. There's a project called the Book of Antitheses. It's the layout's done. We're waiting on the artwork right now. The artist, what's the story? I always get confused. Is he the one that got the disease, or is he the one that had the child? One of the two. He either got a disease or a child, but either way, things are a bit slow going, but I'm hoping that the book will be ready to go to press in September. Jesus Christ, he's either got a kid or a disease. Fuck me. But yeah, that is in process, and hopefully will be out by the end of the year. I have to say, maybe for future live streams, well, if it's just an impromptu thing, then it's not a big deal. I think if I'm going to do scheduled live streams, maybe I should have somebody here with me. But then that's a problem, because who would be here with me? Because then I don't think that this program can do like a split screen. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like when you watch those interview shows that are actually live, and they're not in the same room, I got no idea how to do that. I know a lot of them, they're not actually live streamed. They just have a canned thing they produced, and then they debut it live. But I think I've seen, YouTubers doing live interviews where someone has got an inset and someone else is there, and I got no idea how to do that shit. Because I think like having like LOTFP artists or writers, and doing a live stream interview that way, that might be neat. That might be neat. Did you mention cost of new volumes? I showed up late. Excuse me. It's not finalized, so I don't want to give numbers. But I will say these books were freaking expensive to produce, have been among the most expensive batches. This is the most expensive batch, I think, ever. And we're looking, for blood. I mean, this is like Veins of the Earth level production, and so it's going to have Veins of the Earth level cost. Give or take. This is, this slipcase, arm and a fucking leg to only have 100 and something produced. So these, and you see, because I feel like, so knowing how much they cost and knowing that like there's been price increases at the printer, I don't want to give numbers, because just doing it off the top of my head and this being the first way you're finding out, I almost when I see what the numbers will likely be, and I'm still trying to figure what to do, it's like I feel like it's like, oh, they're going to be a bit more expensive. I feel I should be apologetic, which is a horrible way to present a product. So I think until yeah. These things are fucking expensive, though. Can we expect any more adventures set in the new world coming from you in the future? Let's see. There's nothing in process right now. I don't think so. Oh, yes, there is. Jesus Christ, yes, there is one. Yeah, there is a big one coming. It's been like 2 fucking weeks since I told him I'd have the final notes on his draft, and I still haven't gotten back to him because I'm, doing this. I'm engaging with the fans. It's more important than reading the fucking manuscripts. So yeah, definitely will be more stuff set in the new world. When they'll be available for sale, sometime next week. I don't know exactly. And if the printing on the last book doesn't go so well because it's an experimental kind of thing, uh, Google OBS Gym. What the fuck? Why are you telling me that? Open Broadcaster song. Okay, thank you. Okay, that makes more sense because I saw you say Google OBS, and I was like, what's one bookshelf saying now? But yes, thank you. I'll look into that. For Livestream stuff, there's an adventure idea in that typo. More green devil face, please. Well, coordinating with people seems more fraught than ever. It might be interesting. Well, you see, because I don't know how it would work economically, and there's all this stuff. Because it's like Green Devil face. That'd be a wonderful thing to just pass on to someone else, saying you be in charge of Green Devil face and compiling it and putting it together, and something I don't have to fucking deal with. I'll just deal with it once it's ready for printing. But then, how do you do the economics, and then how do you release it? And so I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. I love Scenic Dunsmith. Would you consider doing more procedurally generated adventures like that again? Again, that's more dependent on the people I'm working with, because the things I do are the things I do, and it's going to come from an idea that I have and an inspiration and a stupid thing. And usually, from reviewing my stuff, especially doing all these anthologies the past year or so, it's like everything that I do, the idea is attacking something that is considered good, something that's considered normal. It's like, this is how we do things. Oh, attack that. Oh, this is oh, no, this is twisting that. So having an idea like this is going to be procedurally generated, that's not how I attack things. I'm certainly very open to publishing someone else doing something like that. Not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. You can write up a list of topics you have thoughts on for when you run low on questions. That is a good idea for when I plan these things. I literally just got to bug up my ass thinking, oh, let me see how this live stream works these days. I haven't done that for a while. And then suddenly I'm on the air, and 3 hours later, here we are. There was no thought put into this. The only thought I had ahead of time is maybe I should put the new books at the computer desk. That's all of the foresight that went into this. I had no idea that anyone was going to show up, that anyone was going to care. For all I knew, I was going to be sitting here for 5 minutes going, nobody gives a shit, and shutting off. So no. I enjoy playing LOTFP. That's how we do things. Please don't attack that. Yes, that is what I attack. Because the joke is the whole nega dungeon. You're penalizing the players, and I was always trolling the players. That's what an adventure is how can we make the people playing this miserable? I mean, to me, that's what an adventure is. It's obstacles, it's danger, it's challenge. It's not. It's hopefully you get enjoyment from going through it, but it's only enjoyable if you have some amount of freaking frustration that you might get past. And if you get past it, yay! But if it's set up so, we know you'll really get past it, then it's bullshit. So LOTFP, it's like, okay, we got to give you something frustrating that you might not actually get through. So there's a challenge, there's a game in there, because a lot of role-playing games are a different sort of game. But Lamentations, it's like a difficult challenge. So then if you actually get through it, it feels like you've accomplished something. That's the idea. That's why the stuff seems deadly and you can't win. Because it literally, the act of playing the game should be the enjoyable part. Certainly winning is more fun than losing, but going through the process and losing should still be enjoyable as a social activity, but there's some sort of meaning, there's something to do if the game is not set up with the assumption that you'll win. So, yeah. Can you show us one of the cards? Okay. Oh, Jesus. What do I want to show as a preview? Because now, okay, that's difficult. I understand that's a reasonable request, but then I have to, then in my mind, it's like, okay, whatever I show you is going to be considered as representative from the whole book. Okay, what do we got here? What would be a good one? Okay, let's see. Physical mutation. So if you do the what is that? The Jack of Clubs. Physical mutations, and then you would draw another card, to get the suit. And so basically, your characters in these would be these are transformations, physical transformations that your characters are stuck with forever. And that one, your feet transform into big floppy flippers, or your legs transform into gazelle legs. You get wings that sprout from your back. The drawer's skin becomes bulky and hard and rocky so that they look like some sort of thing. That was subtle writing. So, yeah. Losing should be enjoyable, Jim 2020. Well, yeah, I mean, that's a difficult thing about the. Oh, cool. So you use an actual. Yeah, that's the difficult thing. You've got a book that you need cards to use, but so many of the entries wouldn't actually fit on cards in any sort of legible or reasonably. It would look a mess to squeeze some of these down in there. So did it in book format, but you'll need a deck of cards to properly use it. Is there a mutation that makes your claws turn into giant hands? See? How many other role-playing companies just use promotional art that gets used as in-jokes a year and a half later? That's what makes LOTFP great. In-jokes on promotional art. How do you feel about alternatives to experience for gold? All right or blah? Well, it depends on what it is. The thing about experience for gold is it's a very objective measure. So you could, and it's it's an objective measure that gives players like incremental rewards for doing things and not just winning the big task, but also gives them incentive to maybe pull back. It's like, oh, we've got this much treasure, this much experience. We can just go home and be happy with this, or gamble and get some more. A lot of alternate systems, or like hand wavy, oh, you all seem second level to me now. The the individual decisions don't necessarily have like game consequence meaning. So yeah, so any alternative you have would have to be something objective and something that allows incremental progress. I have a lot of characters on level 6, but not past that. Is there a pattern? Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, LOTFP isn't designed to be a journey of level 1 to 20, and that's the expected arc of a character in a campaign. So most people, and it's the same as like the old D&D campaigns, it's the same sort of thing. So much of play is clustered around low and mid-level, and that if there is a high-level campaign, it's because people just created high-level characters. And so like Eldritch Cock is that the playtest rules in there are sort of designed to, like, let's mix things up, realizing that this legacy rule system, which was designed that with the assumption that characters are going to grow in level. Well, what if that's not the assumption? Then so much of the stuff that's in the game, so the whole magic system puts the weird spells into low level characters' hands. Whereas the traditional Dungeons and Dragons magic system, you've got to be however much level. That doesn't really happen in Lamentations that much. So that's the inspiration for why the magic system's like that. And a lot of the playtest rules, it's like, okay, if characters aren't expected to ever get to 10th level, then all of these goodies and all of the assumptions, you got to rework those. And the deck of weird things, it's sort of kind of addressing that too. It gives goodies and it gives, well, drawbacks too. All sorts of, you know, all sorts of things that can create excitement and difference, and things that normally only happen in higher level campaigns, designed to just plug that right into low level situations. My campaign is sitting around level 6 now. We're definitely running out of modules to play. Well, make your own. I mean, I appreciate if you're buying everything because that's what you play, but the platonic ideal is that you're running your own campaign with your own adventures, with your own group, and then the published adventures are spice, and not necessarily, the main event of a campaign. But, if it makes you feel better to buy everything and play just that, then, well, fucking do that. Dead air. Dead air. So we're 3.25 hours into this impromptu live stream, Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Have you ever thought about making a full campaign LOTFP still as a book? I'm not very clear. I'm not understanding, I think, exactly what you're asking. So yeah, if you can rephrase the question, I'll get back to that. And again, anyone else have questions that will prevent me from doing stupid radio disc jockey voice, that will be best for everyone. But yeah, we're still doing the live stream, and I'm answering questions in the chat. I'm every so often showing off the new books that will be released hopefully next week. There's still one more book that's still at the printers. We'll have new shirts. We'll have LOTFP face masks. What immediately grabs you about a pitch a writer would make? I can envision what the players are going to do, and it doesn't sound like something that's already been done in my catalog. That's what grabs me about a pitch a writer would make. Other games produce books that have full campaigns in it. Have you thought about something like that, but an LOTFP way? Okay, I get it now. Sorry, I wasn't catching on early. Okay, that's difficult. That's difficult because the question then, it would have to have a built-in mechanism or a built-in justification on replacing characters. And any long-term campaign in Lamentations, I assume, is going to break into the Theseus's ship problem. You got your ship, and just in the normal maintenance and repairs, you got to replace a board here, you got to place a board there, till eventually at some point you've replaced every board on the ship. There's not a single part of the ship, from when this thing originally went in the water, is it the same ship? So if you have a full campaign and like, oh, this character dropped off there, that one dropped off there, till eventually you've got a group of characters that are at some point in the middle of the campaign and none of them were there at the beginning. What's the through line that keeps them going on the campaign? That's I don't know. Again, if someone else wants to take a shot at that and make a pitch and put it together, I'm all for it. But I think I like doing stuff that's a little more contained and small scale. It's like, here's the situation, here's a finite environment, more than here's a quest that a group of players has to go on with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And we got more dead air. Lamentations of the Flame Princess live stream. Again, this one was just done spur of the moment, impromptu. I was just bored, and here I am almost 3.5 hours later. At some point, not only do I have to worry about whether or not people are asking questions in the chat, which anyone listening to this is welcome to come in and do, but in addition to that, at some point, I will have to take a leak. So let's if you've got questions, let's think about getting them in the chat nowish, because I don't think I'm going to last another half hour. But I do thank everyone that showed some interest, everyone that's popped by, everyone that's asked questions in the chat, so I've had stuff to actually do here. It's good to know that somebody cares and someone's interested. And I was bored. Do I ever sleep? I live in Finland, so it's just after 5 p.m. here. So I'm guessing the person asking that question is on a different continent. I might be wrong, but my sleep schedule is really weird. Like last night, I slept 6.5 hours. Night before, I only slept 4 hours because a freaking bee flew in my bedroom window and was just buzzing around the ceiling. And it's like I just couldn't get back to sleep. Because screens don't come standard on the windows in this friggin' country. Do you have a puzzle or trap that's been your go-to for years at your tables? Not really. Do I? I don't know. Heiki, did I ever have the same trap I kept going back to time after time? Any more Duvanku stuff in the pipeline? Yes. Well, define pipeline. Yeah, you're gonna have to define pipeline, because there's stuff that's planned, stuff that's sort of half done, but there's nothing that's in full production right now. But certainly at some point there's going to be more. Do you have plans for books set in other areas in 17th century Europe, the New World, like Japan or Russia, for example? Well, yes, if people would do them. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have dropped out of projects in the past period of time. But yeah, if you have a pitch, you want to see it, then you can do it, then pitch it. I would love to get more historical source book stuff done. That seems to be the big fucking roadblock. Stay awesome, Mr. Reggie. Well, that's I will do my best, but it's not always entirely up to me. So, let's see. We're at 3 hours, 23 minutes now of this live stream. I think what I'm going to do is say I'm quitting at 3.5 hours. So now we've got exactly 6 minutes for this live stream left. So yes, if you have any questions, you've now got 6 minutes to ask them in the chat. And then I think that will be quite enough for me for one day. I have actual work to do. Preferred method of pitching ideas: send me an email. Uh, yeah, just send me an email and give me just a general idea pitch, what the players would do, and anything that you think would stick out to me as being worthwhile that I would want to follow up on. Doesn't have to be a big pitch, don't do the big formal thing, just, some bullet points and wouldn't this be cool? Because honestly, if I say, yeah, do it, to me, I'm just gonna ignore you until you like have something together because that's what it usually. I want to do this. Okay, let's do it, and then I never hear from the fucking person again. That happens so often that I'm. I'll say, yeah, good idea, but I won't take it seriously until you have something. But if you want to clear an idea before you go do the trouble, then sure. Do you have any more buckets left? Yes, I do. I have a pile of them in the downstairs storage space. Actually, I yeah, it's a problem though because there's no. I have to buy an entirely new set of boxes in order to ship those. Though I don't have any good boxes for shipping buckets. So I don't know what to do with those. I was going to bring them to Ropicon again and try to get rid of them, get rid of the rest of the buckets there, but no conventions this year. So yeah, 4 minutes left. If you have a question, you better get over here into the live stream chat really quick, or else you don't ask your question. Causing dead air, and I'm past the point of wanting to just ramble on about anything. So we got 4 minutes. There are supposedly 22 people watching. Somebody still has a question. Somebody does. I know it. Are you going to ask it? Are you going to ask it? Or is this going to be the worst fizzle out of a live stream in all of history? Favorite Finnish black metal band? Oh, Jesus, Finnish. Finnish black metal. I haven't heard their latest album. I think it's either just come out or just will come out. But I was always fond of And Oceans. I'm generally not a fan of like the really dirty black metal thing, the really lo-fi kind of thing. So yeah, I think Finnish black metal. Yeah, And Oceans is for some reason the one that comes to mind before anyone else. But as soon as the live stream ends, I'll be like, "Dar!" Okay. Are you planning to update the firearms rules to something a little easier to parse? I think the most complicated thing is the part that's actually never really used. Because a lot of the rules about the reload times and how that works, I consider that the most complicated thing. And that's only really applicable to like a long skirmish combat between forces all using firearms, when effectively in play firearms usage is you start off shooting, drop the gun, draw your sword, and that's the rest of the combat. Thanks for doing this. Any last recommendations? Books, music, films, TV. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay, for films, let's go through. Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter. Very LOTFP. Let's see. For music, do I want to be... let's see. I've been plugging Mirror all this time. Who's another one? Witchery. Yeah, Witchery just reissued their first 3 albums. I highly recommend Witchery, Restless and Dead. That's some fun metal. Let's see here. Yeah, that's just on the pile here. And John Zorn's Painkiller. It's always fun, listening to him do grindcore stuff. That's just bizarre. John Zorn's Painkiller Project. Yeah, let's just leave that there because we got a minute left. As above, so below. That, well, I wouldn't consider that a great film to go out of your way to see, but if you do see if you got nothing better to do, As Above, So Below is a very LOTFP dungeon movie, even if it's not a great film. Been playing any video games? Yeah, my video games. I'm not a big video game person. What do I like? I like Curious Expedition, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I think that's coming out soon. I've always liked city builders, and Banished has been my city builder of choice for a while. And then, with wrestling, Totally Extreme Wrestling 2016, I dabble in sometimes. I haven't upgraded to the 2020 version. Okay, that's 3 hours, 30 minutes. I want to thank everyone who stopped by. I hope I've successfully engaged in a little bit of hype for the new stuff. Again, hopefully this is on sale next week. And yeah, I have no idea when I'll be doing another one of these. Maybe I'll get something scheduled and do something a bit more prepared and interesting. Other than that, hi, y'all still here? I'm sneaking in while at work. Yes. Cheers, James. This is a great surprise highlight. Got none of my edit done I was supposed to be doing. Well, I hope I hope that wasn't on one of my projects. Thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for your questions and giving me something to do. I will see you all next time.